issued for Stieber at the end of that match as they were going out of bounds.
So true.
I'm not saying really, I'd have to look at it again. I just remember feeling like I thought that 2 was awarded a little bit prematurely.
And about everybody else, too, thought that, too.
And
it's not the athlete's fault.
Yeah, no. And Stieber's the real deal. He's like, he could be potential Olympic material. This guy certainly feel that way about Jordan Oliver.
He could be a 4-timer. Yeah. He's going for a second, one as a freshman.
Yeah. Well, and I think the big deal about, I just think Tony Ramos is focused. I think he's focused, and when he lost to Stieber in the Big Ten championship,
they've wrestled.
Well, but in the Big Ten championships, because Ramos had focused on that match all year long. They didn't meet in the duel because Stieber was out with a little injury, dinged up. So at least that's what everyone said. And so at the end of the day, Ramos was focused on that. And I just don't think Stieber can beat him tonight. I just don't think it's going to happen. But
all right, well, you know where I'm standing, Jeff.
I kind of agree with you. When you go with the technician against the bull, if I'm a betting man, I'm going with the technician. You know,
I'm with you, Billy. But Jeff, hey, we love her, Jeff Murphy.
I mean, even with boxing, when you have the pure finesse boxer versus the street brawler, that kind of thing. This is what we have right now.
Muhammad Ali, boy, he just knew how to pick people apart, didn't he? He was pretty technical. Wow. We better get to 41.
Now that I know that you've picked Stieber, I've got no chance because
how'd I do in the Big Ten?
This man picked 10 of 10 in the Big Ten tournament.
10 out of 10. We gotta go over my picks before we get started here.
Yeah, right.
We'll start with. Let's go on to 41.
And out of 38 media people the last 4 years, I've won it twice for this. So let's go on.
I'll tell you what my picks are in a second.
So we've got Port from Edinburgh.
Here's a 4 seed versus a 2, which is
an interesting story, guys. That's a good story.
I'm going to have to get a flashlight out to see my notes here. They got the lights down. So
well, you know, you hate to go against Mitchell Port because he's just done so much with hardly any, with the seed that he had, but he's made it to the finals. He beat Hunter Stieber, Logan's brother, but I think Maple's speed will be the difference here. Kendrick Maple's on a mission, guys. And how he didn't get the #1 seed, I don't know. What do you think, Jeff?
Well, I think that was a bit of a travesty because Maple was ranked #1 all year long.
Yeah, so I never did understand his #2 seed.
I didn't understand that one either because no one challenged him all year long, and I just think that was a mistake on somebody's part, but that's how the seeding committee saw it. And then Port, a little bit it came out of nowhere. I mean, he's an outstanding wrestler.
Sure.
But I don't think anybody, if you ask 10 people whether, Port or Stieber,
maybe 1 out of 10.
Stieber.
Yeah, I'm a longtime friend with Tim Flynn, and I love to see these Edinburgh guys popping through. It's so good for wrestling. There's a big drop-off after you get past the Iowa State, Oklahoma State, Penn State, and 2 or 3 others. When you get down for like 7, 8 through like 15 or 16, it's like the Wild West out there. Sometimes in the old days when Tommy Ryan was at Hofstra, they'd pop in, and Edinburgh pops in. And that's what's really exciting about it. You could finish 25th this year in this tournament, and if you have a good year and you get a little hot in the tournament. I mean, last year my alma mater, Binghamton, finished 14th.
Absolutely.
Finished 14th in the tournament. So I think it's good for wrestling, and I'm really proud of what Baumgartner and Flinney have done there. And I'm excited to see what this kid Port brings to it.
It's going to be fun. Jordan Oliver. Oh, by the way, Jeff Murphy, who did Maple beat in the semifinals? I know you want to at least say it once.
Oh, I got Christian Neum,
right, from Citadel.
Absolutely. Here we go.
Let's go here.
Oliver and
Oliver Chamberlain.
Boy, they're going to choke us out here with the
here comes the smoke, guys. As long as that stuff's not carcinogenic, we'll be fine.
So Jordan Oliver at 149 pounds, Oliver up a weight class this year, just done an outstanding job.
I think he's up 2 weight classes, didn't he?
Yeah, 2.
2 weight classes.
Sorry, and Jordan and Jason Chamberlain from Boise State.
The Broncos had closer matches, and Oliver major. Jeff?
And Chamberlain was out all last year. I think he had an injury last year. He missed
either that or he redshirted. I forget. Might have redshirted
both,
there.
Yeah.
So,
and that's just it. And so you look at that one, and again, even though Chamberlain was ranked 2nd coming into this whole thing, and even though Chamberlain just had an outstanding year, with 26-1 record, I don't know too many people are going to pick against Jordan Oliver in this match.
I don't think I wouldn't. I probably wouldn't pick him. His only loss was to Scott Sakaguchi of the Oregon State Beavers. We know how good Sakaguchi is. He's tough, but Oliver's he's got the whole package. he's just phenomenal. He can score from any. He's got speed, strength, stamina. He did have a little injury timeout. Some people were worried about a little bit in his semifinal match, but I talked to John Smith, and he says that Oliver's ready to go, and I asked Eric Guerrero, and he said the same thing. 57.
Tell me about Welsh. I don't know much about him.
Well,
Scrambler.
He's been around for a long time, going to use all kinds of funky moves. You'll think he's in a horribly dangerous position, and then all of a sudden he comes out of it on
and
top.
You're in trouble.
Oh, no.
Now, the one thing I will say is you've got two guys that are very much similar body type, him and St. John, long and lanky guys. And one of the things that they've wrestled each other about 100,000 times over the last several years.
Both in the Big Ten.
Yep. So the two of them know each other very, very well because they tend to meet in the finals of things. And St. John's had his numbers over the year. I don't know that Jason Welch has ever beat St. John.
Welch ever beat St. John? Yeah, he's been victorious over St. John. Yep, he's beat him. I do know this, like Jeff coined it. You can't underestimate this statement that Jeff Murphy just made. When you think you're beating Jeff Welch, you better prepare yourself to count the lights. How many times, Jeff, in the Big Tens was he in trouble? We thought he was in trouble, but he literally set you up like Pete Galea used to do. Grab my leg and I'll show you what happened.
Yeah, he sat there and he wrestled.
He is so dangerous, it's scary.
And he just waited for him.
He said, come on, bud.
Up. I mean, you could just see him, and Steve said,
he's setting him up.
He's poised, he's setting him up, and sure enough, he came up, he grabbed him and rolled him over.
I've watched him win the Midlands all those years, and I said, Jeff Murphy right now, look at Green. He thinks he's got him. I said, watch this. 2 seconds later, Green's is pinned.
Yeah.
So it brings a lot of excitement to that match.
I know Northwestern is had some studs throughout the years, but it's nice to see them rising the ranks, and again, it's just so good for wrestling to see some of these other programs emerging and improving.
That's right,
Very impressed with what they're doing.
2 finalists, when you think of McMullen, he's a Wildcat, and then you got Welch as a Wildcat
that's what I'm talking about, because I knew this is their second one. Very impressive.
So that rolls us all the way back around to 165.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they'll probably just stop before they get there tonight. No one's looking forward to that. Probably the auditorium will be empty by then. Everybody will be going home.
Yeah, right, Jeff.
Yeah, that's the one thing about it.
You should do stand-up, buddy.
By putting that match last, there will not be an empty seat in the house.
Promise.
Everyone will stick around for that match.
Well, we all have our own opinions. Everybody's done their own picks, but I think we're accurate when we said earlier, the slower the match, the better it is for Dake. The higher speed the match, the better it is for Taylor. Taylor wants this thing to turn into a brawl. Taylor wants this thing to be high-paced. Dake wants to slow it down and win by a point or two. And so it's going to be the unmovable object against the irresistible force, more or less. And it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top.
Yeah, the thing I see about this match is, from David Taylor's standpoint, I can tell you that there's been hours and hours and hours of film study as Taylor and the Sandersons and Casey Cunningham have tried to tear apart and look at Dake and look if they can find a weakness, because sort of, okay, let's put the two up against each other in the All-Star Classic early in the season. All right, so we'll see what happens, and we'll see where we all stand, and that's fine. It's an exhibition match. And then when they wrestled each other in the finals of the Southern Scuffle and came out like it was, I can tell you after Taylor lost to him twice this year, there's been hours and hours of film study thinking about where they can crack a weakness there. That's what I'm really interested to see, how David Taylor attacks this match.
And then, like Billy mentioned earlier, they've met in freestyle and he pinned them. Yep. Kyle Dake actually pinned David Taylor in Iowa City. So I got to think he's got the mental edge, but Taylor's been so successful at every level, I guarantee he's not psyched out. He's probably more psyched up than he is psyched out.
No, but I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens in about the first 90 seconds of the match.
Yep.
I think that's going to be very telling. The thing about Taylor, he reminds me of like Tom Brady. You guys got it all. He's got Hodge trophies, national championships, outstanding wrestlers. He looks like he should be in GQ magazine rather than on a wrestling mat.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a super good kid. Everybody swears up and down what a wonderful kid he is.
Mr. America.
Yeah, and
Captain America. Sorry, Randy Couture, but Captain America.
You walk around this room and you see all the dinged up faces and all the cauliflower ears, and you look at David Taylor and you say,
Is he a checker or chess champion?
He walked out of a Calvin Klein ad or something.
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
Yeah, but I think that really is what it is, though. David Taylor's always excelled at every level, and he's always been the champion. And he's the runner-up this year. He's the underdog at this point. I think this is one of the next big challenges that he wants to take on. He needs to win this match because.
Well, I tell you, after what happened to him.
Bubba Jenkins
against Bubba, 2 years ago. It was amazing that any story in the entire tournament rivaled Anthony Robles.
Right.
But his own teammate, Bubba Jenkins, comes along. We know the whole story.
Yeah.
Cale comes to Penn State. There's no room for Bubba. He wants to go to graduate school. He's got another year of eligibility. I think basically he was told there's no place for you here. He transfers to Arizona State, and lo and behold, he makes it all the way to the finals against the Golden Boy himself, who is the second coming of Cale Sanderson, the next guy that's going to be 159-0. They're in the finals. Robles beats McDonough. And all of a sudden, Bubba Jenkins comes out on the match, and it's a very sort of good scrambles going on until he locks that cradle up.
And then it's Payback Incorporated.
And when he stuck him, and Taylor ran off the mat, I was like, just unbelievable. And I'm a Hollywood drama guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't have written that better in a script. The way we just described it to you with Cale, and how he was a Penn State guy, and to come back and to face Cale and to face Taylor and to bust up his undefeated season.
It's very impressive.
Really. I'm so
like
glad every year we have different. There's great stories that rise.
Isn't that the truth?
So great.
Well, as I said, I just go back again. Cale Sanderson does not like to lose, and David Taylor does not like to lose. And
we've golfed with him before. You and I have a few times. Cale don't like to lose at stuff.
No,
we've been on the golf course with him.
I tell you what, that is absolutely going to be worth 3 times the price of admission, and I think that's been the most anticipated match since Cale Sanderson's final match when he won his 159th win.
2002 in Albany.
Yep, at the Pepsi Arena. It was exciting, a 15, 20-minute standing ovation there. And we were all there. We had the chills. We had the goosebumps. It was a real special time for, not just for Iowa State, but for Cale, but for the sport of wrestling. Because when you get somebody like that, and Billy said it about David Taylor, they're not just phenomenal wrestlers, but they're good people. The good PR. It's good for the sport. They're not going to be out getting in trouble and doing things they shouldn't.
And this is a nice shot in the arm for the athletic department at Penn State in the wake of all the stuff with Coach Paterno. And not to dwell on that, it's just such a sad story. And
sure, no question. Well, they need something like this.
Yeah.
The fans need something like this. And look what they are. We are still Penn State. We are the Penn State, as they cheer. And they're behind us, and we will hear them, too.
And you know what? It's interesting.
The Big Ten, right?
We might have talked about this last year, but it was interesting. When I was a kid, I used to go see the Bedlam Series matches between Oklahoma State, Iowa State, and we're literally witnessing the turning of the page on that era. Because now there's powers in the Northeast, in Cornell and in Penn State, and even the little engine that could with Lehigh.
Lehigh doing good. Pitt did good this year.
But just look at Cornell and Penn State.
Right.
Penn State's going for a three-peat. Mathematically, it's highly likely that they will succeed, and they have a better team coming back next year than they have this year.
Yeah.
The only guy they're losing is Wright. Everybody else is coming back. Brown is coming back. Ruth is coming back. What is his name? The 25
Megalunas.
He's a sophomore, I think. And they had a great recruiting season, so they are poised and positioned for, dare I say it, dynasty. They really are.
McIntosh, right? He comes back next year.
He's on a redshirt
McIntosh does, and I think he'll pick up right where Wright left off.
I think Brown's a sophomore. Brown's got 2 years left after this. He's in the finals. Ruth is back. I mean, this is scary.
It's amazing.
Because you look at the vulnerability of Iowa and sort of like the falling from grace and the greatness of Iowa State. And Oklahoma's rebuilding, and it's exciting to see John Smith and Oklahoma State right in the mix right now.
Yeah, the Cowboys.
But it's been this shift to the Northeast, and I think again that's really, really good. I hope sounds strange to say. I'm sitting next to the Penn State section, but I hope that Penn State does not have the dominance that Iowa had for so many decades, because it's just
The best.
It's just everybody fighting for second place is no fun. You know
Parity is the best. It's great when the trophy moves around. It goes to different time zones.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, so when you look ahead to next year, and we're going to look ahead to next year for a minute, but I think the only team that's probably got the best shot to unseat Penn State, and it's a bit of a long shot, is probably Minnesota, because Minnesota's got a really young team that's going to have a lot of good wrestlers.
Yeah, but do they have the depth? I mean, the dual meet, yes. That's why I think Cal is not in support of the national duels, because he knows he can win this tournament with the depth, and he knows when he's got pinners that are getting bonus points.
Bonus point winners.
In third round, fourth round, fifth round. You know, in a dual meet, I guess anybody's beatable. I mean, Penn State just lost to Iowa at Carver Hawkeye.
Yeah, right.
But I just look at you got Thorne, you got the Dardanes boys.
Yeah, Ness.
Storley and Ness and Schiller.
Steinhaus.
And Nilsson. They're all coming back.
They got Jay Robinson.
They're going to be good next year.
Brandon Eggum.
They're going to be good now.
Luke Becker.
But, you know, Penn State's going to be pretty darn good. The only thing I would suggest, that, and the reason I talk about, I mean, you still got Ruth and Taylor,
right.
and the whole, Brown,
McIntosh.
et cetera. But, you've just got an awful lot of young guys that are all Americans coming back from Minnesota at all weights.
A lot of balance for Minnesota Golden Gophers. Be fun to follow. We're going to bring you the national anthem of this great nation, the United States of America.
The colors are retired. The colors are being presented by the Des Moines Fairgrounds BMW Post 738. Ladies and gentlemen, singing our national anthem, the F. Wendell Miller Distinguished Artist in Residence and Professor of Music at Iowa State University, humanitarian and internationally acclaimed bass baritone and opera legend, Mr. Simon Estes, and our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see on the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets ran where the bombs bursting in there. It proves through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, sailors, that star-spangled banner yet wave. For the land of the free
Turn mine down a little bit. Turn these up. Welcome back. Wow, great time. They're going to take the flags out of the arena here. We stand in respect.
We have a packed house here, and it's great to see the blue of Penn State, the red of Cornell, the orange of Oklahoma State, the black and gold of the Hawkeyes. The whole arena is packed to the gills.
Great time. Wow, good job, man.
I tell you what,
One of the best opera singers.
Simon Estes, my goodness.
Simon Estes, he's a Des Moines native. He lives here in Des Moines. He's one of the greatest opera singers in the world. He's actually been taken to Leningrad, St. Petersburg, just all over the place to sing opera. And boy, he gave us a good rendition tonight, didn't he?
Yep. I tell you what, for those at home, they're really doing this up right this year, and
Iowa State Cyclones are the host.
yep, this is always a very majestic and it's just a pageant. But they've added the smoke machines this year, so when you come out of the tunnels, you come through the smoke, and we're sitting next to the smoke machine, and it might just smoke us out before we're done.
That's right,
Yeah,
Jeff
they've
Murphy.
got a bunch of special effects going on here tonight
absolutely.
that Scott walked me through before, some of the stuff that they're doing on the stage and for the introductions that they've never done before, which is great. You want the theater. You want to make it entertaining for our live home television audience on ESPN.
Absolutely.
It's special, you know, for what Iowa State actually, Hugo Okapalik and Dr. Scalp, they were the people that invented this tournament, by the way. So it's neat that Iowa State is hosting it this year. Back in 1928, the first Division I wrestling championship was held in Ames, Iowa, on the campus of Iowa State University. And to think that they did that and how it's evolved and the greatness that it is today, it's only neat and that much more special. In fact, a lot of the Iowa State greats, Ben Peterson's going by, Jim Gibbons, Mike Land.
Ed Bannock.
Yep, Frank Santana was
Eddie
out
the Horse.
there. Yep.
Frank
Kevin
Santana.
Jackson.
The Specimen, as we always called Frank Santana, his nickname on college campus was the Specimen. And tough guy, boy, Frank. He was, whew, man, he started, tell you how tough he is, started wrestling in the 11th grade.
Yeah.
Won a couple titles in college, and so, yeah. He went out for football. Football coach says, dude, you need to get on the wrestling team. You're hurting everybody, even with their helmets on. And the rest is history. The rest turned into the Frank Santana show.
I come here, I set my schedule for the year around this tournament.
Yeah.
I love to be here. For me, it's like this is your life. I got guys, coaches and officials from junior high, high school, college. I lifeguarded on this beach on Long Island, Tobay Beach. The whole beach was run by the lacrosse, football, and wrestling coaches, so that's the only guys that got hired. So half the guys from the wrestling team here, when I lifeguarded on Long Island, are here. And to see, you know, my childhood idols, to see Nate Carr and Lee Kemp and John Smith and Dan Gable,
Ed Bannock, you got to talk to.
Ed Bannock, and I saw last night the Gibbons brothers and the Sheets and the Shears and you know, it just and the Zaleskis and Jay Robinson. You know, it just never ends. I'm always so excited and so tickled by you know, my encounters with them when I see them there. It's terrific.
It is amazing, Billy. This is kind of the who's who of the wrestling world.
They keep coming back every year. Nate Carr is here. Every year, I just saw Denny Hastert to speak to the former House Speaker. You know, it's just like the fraternity and the culture of the sport of collegiate wrestling is just incredible.
Yeah,
it's so
incredible.
palpable.
There's a spiritual thing behind it. You can feel the spirit of wrestling.
What I just enjoy is everybody's willing to stop and talk for a few minutes.
Yeah.
You know, you go up and you can, boy, I remember when you wrestled back in 1979. And
Eddie Bannock just did it. You said, hey, Eddie, and he came over and he was telling Steve a story about how when he wrestled on the New York State freestyle team.
The water bottles.
And I was like the team mascot or something. I was like 12 years old. And how he said I used to steal the water bottles from the guys and then go out and buy bottles of water and sell them back to the guys when they were like second weight and dehydrated. I would sell them for like 50 cents a bottle.
Sneaky
He
Billy
said, you were
Baldwin.
so corrupt, Baldwin. You were entrepreneurial back then.
Sneaky Billy, we can call him. That's fantastic stuff. There is a lot of great stories. And Nate Carr was there. I got to talk to Nate. And we used to have a saying for Nate Carr because speed was his forte. We used to always say, the fastest car I ever saw.
Yeah. So, I got to wrestle Nate Carr in college. He was the reason I didn't wrestle any longer.
It's like, okay.
Was it your ego that was crushed or somehow fit your knee or your shoulder? Or
it was a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
But ego most, you know, Murphy, get out there. You wrestle Carr. Arms, leg, buzzsaw. Lights.
Happens fast. You probably stood up and said, I don't know, it looks like I'm down 20 to nothing, but I have no clue how it even happened.
Didn't last forever. There were a couple of us thought, you know, maybe we ought to go try to walk on. We were okay in high school. We weren't great, but we were okay. And you never know until you try. But boy, a couple matches with Nate Carr, you didn't have to think.
You know, back in the Nate Carr day, and Kenny Monday was his nemesis, but Nate beat him in the big nationals, and Monday would beat him in the 8s it was called then. But I tell you what, they didn't have Tech Falls either. They didn't have mercy matches.
Yep.
And I remember Nate Carr, you ready, scoring 33 points on a guy in Hilton Coliseum.
Absolutely.
There was no Tech Falls back then.
Well, Gene Mills used to do that in freestyle all the time. He'd get that little ankle lace, and he'd start doing those rolls around the mat.
Yep.
And
Mean Gene, the pinning machine.
They changed the rules. There was 2 rules that were changed. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I was led to believe one of them was if you got the ankle lace and you got the 2, and then you got 2 more, you had to let go of it, sort of feign and attempt at something. He'd like crawl up by the head and get like a side headlock, and then he'd go back to the ankles and do it again and get his 4 points out of it. But before they changed that rule, and there also was no mercy, so he'd get against like an Iranian or a Bulgarian, and he'd get that ankle lace and just start like almost Granby rolling all around the mat, and he'd do that 10 times, and he'd be winning like 30-2 or something.
Yeah.
You know?
The guy at the scoreboard's just going, okay, I think I'll just keep pushing this button.
Right.
Mean Gene, the pinning machine. Gene Mills,
another great
Syracuse,
personality.
Orangeman.
So now I did my homework here. So the State University of New York Athletic Conference Division III back in, 1981, 82?
Yeah.
Let's see now. Binghamton was, 8 wins and 7 losses in 81, 82. 15th in the NCAA tournament. Did a little homework today before I got here.
For the Bearcats.
Look.
Your name was listed somewhere in that.
83,
Yeah,
84,
there
we were
you
third in
go.
the country.
There you go.
Yeah. I remember one of the years we were there, we were 3rd in the country. We were behind, I think, Brockport and Trenton State.
Nice.
And one of those years, a kid came out and won the Division IIIs, and then he went on to win. A kid named Martucci from Trenton State won the Division IIIs, and then he went on to win the Division Is.
Yeah, I remember that name.
At 177.
Remember that name, and that's back when the 2s and 3s, the champs, and for a while they had champs and runners-up qualified for the D1s, and that happened back at that day. I think it'd be kind of cool if they still did that, but the D1s say, well, then we lose a man. It's not fair because we lose a man.
I was led to believe today in a conversation I had with Al Bevilacqua that it was the decision of D3 to not, they didn't want those kids any longer to go, because it sort of diminished the value of their championship, and they didn't want their kids going to the D1s because it diminished that. I thought that was a very interesting take on it, because I understand D1 not wanting them because they don't want to give up a slot. But if D3 didn't want it, that's true that they didn't want it because it diminished the value and the appreciation of their championship.
Probably because Carlton Helzerig graduated. He was just beating up everybody, Mr. Helzerig. So he'd win the D2s, pin everybody, and come up here and put the whooping on all the D3s, too.
Yeah.
D3s this year, by the way, you ready for this? Kicking in the sticks. They're down in Birmingham, Alabama. So that's cool. That's cooler down there down south for the D3 championships this year in Birmingham, Alabama. So how cool is that? They're spreading the love around all over the nation. You don't think of Alabama being a wrestling hotbed, but now D3s anymore, they actually have multiple sport national championships in that town. So it's not just wrestling. They bring a lot of other indoor sports with that, and they say it's a great attraction because it's a lot of money made for that city, like Birmingham and like the D1s here in Des Moines, Iowa. So it's going to get loud, guys.
No, they're asking how many tournaments you've been to, and she's working her way up. And
More than 25 remains.
I've done 24.
oh, well, you got
20.
I'm out. 24.
More than 30.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, there's still a lot of people standing.
Well, Mike Chapman can stand up for 51, I know.
Yeah, absolutely.
J. Carl Guyman can go to 44.
Well, you see some of the people up in the crowd, you know.
Wow.
More than 45 remains.
Jay had to sit down. He goes out at 44.
There's still a lot of them up there.
Well, Mike Chapman, he can stand up.
50 NCAA Division I tournaments remain standing.
Yep. I'll tell you what.
Man, that's a lot of them.
Sure, that's a lot of tournaments. Wow.
55 or more, please stand.
And there's still a few standing when they talk about 55 or more. How
Started
about
in 1928, so.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are very, very close to going.
All right, we're getting close to getting this thing fired up.
We want the world to
So this will be great. What a
gonna get
great
loud.
evening. It's going to get very loud very quickly, Steve.
ESPN does the decibel or the measure sound, and Corey Onan's a good friend of mine, and he's in charge of that for ESPN this year. And he said every single year, the biggest noise, any sport, any event, is the passionate wrestling fans when they bring us in on nationwide television, worldwide television, really, satellite. And you know, it was interesting. We talked to Ed Bannock and Gary Abbott earlier, and they said there's a big contingency of Japanese people came to this year. People came from Japan. So
well, it just goes to show how important wrestling is around the world, and obviously the whole Olympic thing here recently, which is just nuts. But you know, we always laugh.
We should get into that during the broadcast if we have a couple of moments.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we'll have lots of time to talk about some of those.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we've always laughed about, you know, a real big demographic of listening to our Saturday morning takedown radio shows over in India.
Yeah,
on the internet.
Scott says we get so many hits. We have thousands of people in India that listen to our weekly KXNO 1460 AM radio show. So yeah, it's pretty cool, man.
Okay, that works for me. If we can do that, that works for me.
He showed me his little arbitrator radar there. So there goes the horse now, Eddie Bannock, walking in front of us. 4-time finalist, 3-time national champ, Olympic gold medalist. So
what they're showing just
Mr.
Jordan Burroughs commercial or video up on the big screen right now.
He was a great one.
Jordan Burroughs is. You remember Jordan Burroughs as a freshman?
Burn Center,
Jordan Burroughs,
Missouri.
Jordan Burroughs.
He didn't
really passing out when he was. Sanderson as a freshman. Remember that? Burroughs was winning. Come back and beat him at the end because Burroughs just didn't have the gas.
Sure did. Yep. He had some amazing matches with Brent Metcalf. And
that all sort of changed over the years.
Yeah, well.
And I'm telling you what, I believe I hear him through the headphones just fine.
Yeah. The most passionate fans in the world, guys.
Here we go.
Wrestlers, wrestling fans.
Absolutely.
You know, they remind me of hockey fans.
Yeah.
The subculture, you know, of wrestling and hockey, the fans, it's totally different sports, but the mindset and the mentality of the biggest and best fans in hockey remind me, they're like not so distant cousins.
Yeah, that's right. You know, that's just it. And the wrestling fans, the thing about it is, especially the folks here, so knowledgeable, you know, so knowledgeable. It's like you've got 16,000 referees in the building, you know.
Let's hope that
It's going to be good, guys.
All right.
You got to be ready to rock and roll.
I tell you what, they're showing some videos now of some past Anthony Robles.
Yeah.
You know, up on the big screen 2 years ago. What an outstanding young man. He's actually doing the commentary tonight, I think. Color commentary for ESPN. So
with Tim Johnson and company. Tim always does a great job. I know Jim Gibbons is real active in the TV broadcast.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
It's a lot of fun, you guys. Get ready to rock and roll. This is where it all happens. And I just feel blessed and fortunate to be here tonight to witness all this.
Absolutely.
Look at all the fans wearing singlets over there.
Yeah.
Over there by the tunnel. See them over there?
Yep, I see them
It's not real pretty, but they'll probably be like you and me, Murph.
Yeah, I don't believe you want to see us in a singlet anymore. That'd be a bad thing.
That's pretty hardcore when you show up in your singlet. Somebody always told me, you know, it's one sport, you probably don't wear your gear at the mall.
Those are Gopher fans over there.
Yeah,
Minnesota Gophers, yeah.
Golden Gophers.
All right, we got the fog machine kicking out quite a fog here. I tell you what, we're getting ready to start it off. It's going to be great. If you're at home right now and you think that you need to utilize a facility or grab a sandwich or something cold to drink before we get started, get after it, because this is going to get exciting here in just a few minutes.
We'll keep them awake even if they're in their lazy boy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They won't eat us.
Yeah.
This car drives itself.
Yeah, that's a
we
good
just
way
got
to
to stay out of the way.
That's right.
We'll just kind of fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
Have fun and we'll fill in the blanks. So yeah.
I tell you, I'm very interested and excited to see, you know, what's going to happen with this whole IOC endeavor and with all, you know, I just went to one of these CPOW meetings yesterday, the Committee to Preserve Olympic Wrestling.
Right.
And I was invited to be part of that committee. And, you know, it's interesting the way they feel we need to approach this. It's very, very interesting. A lot of people think that they have to be careful not to make it be too American-led, because a lot of these Europeans and Eastern Europeans that are voting members and executive board members and stuff like that, I think that American hubris in the past has sort of snake bitten us a little bit, and they have to make sure that they're uniting all of the federations around the world and having a united voice. And another thing I think is absolutely fascinating, the sport of wrestling was able to do what every president since Richard Nixon all the way to Obama, and that's get the Russians, the Iranians, and the Americans all together with a united front and a united message on the same page as allies.
Something great that we all have in common.
Yeah. Well, it's just crazy that they would even consider to drop this sport from the Olympics, because it just touches so many lives all around the world. There's so many wrestlers that all work up through the system to be able to participate.
I think there was 70 or 80 countries competing, and there was probably 29 or 30 countries that medaled. When you compare that to other sports that are sort of on the bubble, it doesn't really make sense. The math doesn't add up for why they chose wrestling. I'm not sure.
That's what I say. The numbers don't add up. All the millions of people and the millions of fans that love wrestling throughout the world.
I think at the end of the day,
IOC.
I think the IOC board of directors now our executive committee. So this one was lobbied by this guy for this sport, so I'll vote for this and this one. And wrestling just was a little bit asleep at the wheel at that point.
A lot of politics involved in that stuff.
We should try to figure out how fans at home can support USA Wrestling, because one of the things I've understood is one of the problems is the U.S. Olympic team gets money from the IOC and it's divvied up amongst the sports, and wrestling gets like 30% of their annual funding through corporate sponsorship and private donations, and 70% of the money coming to I'm making this number up a little bit, I'm not sure the exact number, it's close to 70% of our funding comes from the IOC for wrestling. And when they're looking at the financial health of a sport, badminton has like $60 million in corporate and private sponsorship.
Really?
They're wealthy. They're much better, not by more people, but by very wealthy individuals. They are very, very well funded through private donations and through corporate sponsorship. And I think wrestling has to do a little bit of a better. Maybe they could flip those numbers where it's 70% private funded and 30% funded by the IOC. Because if the IOC is looking to make that decision and they realize they can go to another sport that's funded at 60, 70, 80%, and by choosing that sport over wrestling, they're gonna put $15 million in the kitty to go invest somewhere else in the games. Maybe that's part of the decision, but I know wrestling has to do a better job of coming up with private and corporate sponsorship. And we should have this be
need to come up a few million offering plates and just mail them around, fill them all up, put them in the big kitty, and let them know that we back it financially, we back it mentally and spiritually and everything. We're completely behind the sport.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
All right, so
Perry,
we got our first match out here. And
Chris Perry, of course, I almost called him Mark Perry. His younger brother has won a title.
As we mentioned before, this is huge team point implications. Penn State has 5 finalists. Oklahoma has 2 finalists. Oklahoma State has 2 finalists. And mathematically, Oklahoma State is not out of this.
If Perry wins, then it's going to keep more interesting as far as the team goes. As we previously mentioned, Penn State could get this thing over quick.
They have a 3-point lead going into this first bout here at 174. And if Oklahoma State wins, it's going to all of a sudden get very interesting.
Absolutely. So setting the stage a little bit, Chris Perry, wrestling for the Oklahoma State Cowboys. He's right in his hometown. He's from Stillwater, Oklahoma. And Matt Brown, as we talked about a little earlier in the broadcast, wrestling obviously for Penn State. He's from West Valley City, Utah. He started as a redshirt freshman at Iowa State, or was on the team as a redshirt freshman at Iowa State when Cale Sanderson went to Penn State, took a 2-year Mormon mission, and now back wrestling for the Penn State Nittany Lions.
Here we go.
Collar tie. We think a faster paced match. More points, I believe, would probably favor Brown. We did find out, too, Jeff Murphy, that he's real physically strong, and Evans found that out, too, in the Big Ten. You recall that match with Mike Evans of Iowa, and boy, you give Brown a moment, and he can toss you to the back. He can toss you to your back.
Absolutely right. So, again, both wrestlers just feeling themselves out. They work over to the edge of the mat, both on their feet, and the referee brings them back to the center, restarts them.
Perry's tough. He comes from that Perry family. His dad was a storied All-American for the Oklahoma State Cowboys and coached for him back in the day. And this is his sons, Mark and Chris. This is Chris. Mark won a title earlier in his career, obviously, against Johnny Hendricks, one of the more memorable wins. And I'm sure his brother Chris would like to pick up where his brother left off. So we'll see here.
Yeah, Chris Perry is, you don't see a lot of offense out of Perry, but
no,
he's really pretty good at it when he tries it. You just don't see it very often.
When Perry shoots, he scores, but the problem is he doesn't always pull the trigger. So,
yeah, and then I guess the other problem with Perry is that he plays that Oklahoma State Cowboy wrestling. He wrestles the edge of the mat. He knows where that's at.
They always know where they are, don't they?
Yep.
Yeah, that's so true. So, yeah. Now, another interesting statistic about Perry, he's a multiple sport participant in high school. I think he either broke or he still holds a single rushing record in football for his high school in football. He's a great football player. Had over close to 2,000 yards in rushing his senior year. So he's a multi-sport type of guy. But, of course, due to his dad and his brother, I'm sure he wants to get out here on the wrestling mat, and he's proved it. Here he is in the finals. Yep. Jeff Murphy?
Well, Perry's had a pretty good, he was defeated twice this year, once by Todd Porter from Missouri with a major decision, which was just surprising to everyone, and then he did get pinned by Logan Storley in the national duels. So that's his 2 losses this year. He had 1 loss last year. He came in with a perfect 26-0 record into the NCAA tournament last year, wound up finishing 3rd last year. So
I think his pin at Storley was, 3 to 5 seconds left. I remember it was right at the end of the match. It was up in Minneapolis.
Ooh,
big shot. Nice.
Interesting scramble there.
Yeah, Brown in deep on a single leg, but he bails out on it at the last minute.
Perry's hard to score on. Yeah. We brought it up. He might win 5-4, 3-2, 2-0, but that's just because you can't. It's hard to take him down.
I think if Brown hadn't bailed quite so quick on that and given up on it, he might have got it.
But I got to tell you, he was quick in, and he was even quicker getting out.
Yeah.
I mean, he really is super quick and agile, Brown.
He is, especially for being as strong as he is.
But I tell you, having watched Chris Perry over the years, if Brown picks that ankle up, that's only about 10% of the takedown.
You got it. If you don't finish it with Perry, you're in trouble.
Because Brown can hold that one ankle of Perry's up over his head.
Yeah.
And Perry'd still dance around and bounce around and find a way to get out of the takedown.
Sure.
End of the first period. We're going into the second, and Brown chooses down.
Chris Perry will be on top. If I accidentally call him Mark, I apologize, but I had so much fun following his brother for so many years. But this is the younger brother, Chris. Younger and heavier, up a weight.
Brown has issued a caution. You jumped the gun a little bit on bottom.
They keep track of this sport, too. I've talked to these Perry kids, and they really keep track. Look at this.
Caution on Perry now, so we've got 2 cautions.
Kind of getting the jitters out, I think. Some of that happens with these guys, so.
Yep, Matt Brown, on the other hand, he's had 4 losses on the year.
Brown with a quick inside stand-up, and he spun right out of there for the escape.
Powerful legs.
A nice cutback.
Big, powerful legs, that inside stand-up. Somebody with those type of power, it's just hard to keep somebody like that down and ride him. He doesn't give you a chance to get your legs in, really. Perry's controlling the head real good there in a collar tie. Kind of some reaching there done by Perry. Real low stance there by Brown. He keeps his hands down in front of him. Oh, that Perry likes to shoot low. Collar tie on the edge of the mat. 1:23 to go in the second period. Just a 1-point escape for Brown from Penn State. So Perry's on the edge of the mat.
Yep.
As Jeff Murphy might.
They're
good at the edge,
There
too.
he goes. There he goes. There he goes.
Perry in on the
Perry's
single
on the
leg.
single.
Brown with the whizzer in. Perry trying to drag him back on the mat. Brown leaning hard into that whizzer.
Now Brown likes these power moves. This is where he threw Evans to his back, right, Murphy? Remember he came over that head with a...
he did. He caught Evans coming in on something and just pancaked him.
Perry's going to have to wrestle smart here.
Perry on the leg.
edge.
Perry's extended now.
Yeah, Brown working the head down. Got really heavy hips.
46 seconds
Really
to go.
nice sprawl.
Now Perry's heading towards the edge of the mat. He's overextended here now.
Perry with his forehead on the mat because Brown, just working that heavy center of gravity.
Stalemate. Good call there, I believe. Yep. Perry initiated. He kind of really changed their direction real wisely there on the edge of the mat. And
Yep. So back to center with 35 seconds left in the second period, 0-0.
That was really the first executed offense by Perry there, halfway through the second period. That shot was his first aggressive move.
Yeah, that might have been the first shot I've seen him take in about 3 matches.
Yeah,
he hasn't had a lot of offense in this tournament.
Yeah, but when he shoots, he's proved that's why he's won. When he shoots, he scores a lot.
He did get in
often. He just needs to pull the trigger more often.
But his wins were 5.
Oh, he's in deep. Brown is in deep.
Trying to scoot there is
Stepping
Perry.
over.
Brown's got a lot of power there.
What happened?
Nothing.
End of the period. End of the period.
Wow.
Yeah. Everybody was looking. Nope, the end of the period.
Nothing there.
Nothing there at all. So Perry's got all of 3 seconds of riding time right now. And so he'll start
I like
down.
the way Brown looks. He looks pretty good.
Yeah, it looks tough.
So Perry's won 5-4, 4-0. In the tiebreaker, 3-2, and sudden victory, 4-2. So everything close.
He's had a tiebreaker and a sudden victory. So
losing things down there.
What is that?
5 in a row, 1 at a time.
And Perry's out.
Perry's out quick, ties it up 1-1.
Yep. So out with about 9 seconds into the third period. So we're both back on our feet, 1-1.
Chris's brother Mark coaches at Illinois. We noticed during the tournament he's coaching the Fighting Illini, and he keeps track of his brother too. So I'm sure he's
Can't
watching.
argue with that. Yeah, so back to the center. The wrestlers go off the mat. Perry sort of backs out.
1:30 to go here in the third and final period.
Yep.
Just 5 seconds of
It's
riding
come down
time.
to a takedown. Yeah, riding time's not a factor.
That's just it. Brown's gonna stalk him, and then Perry's gonna catch him on you watch. He'll catch him on a
cow catcher.
or just
reverse headlock.
some kind of a counter
Underhook.
move. Yep. And
Brown's gotten in deep twice on him so far, though. So don't. He's gotten in real deep.
Yeah, he has.
Got a lot of power. More times than not, though, Perry pulls out these squeakers. We've been watching it as we go. So
well, and Brown's gotten in deep on a couple of singles, but he hasn't got a takedown on either one.
Yeah, he's proven what we've stated. Perry, for some reason, obviously good defense. He is very hard. He's got like a built-in gyroscope in his body. He's just hard to get off his feet.
Really tough to take down.
And you think of all that power that Brown has, he could just power his way through it. But a lot of this sport is leverage and technique.
That's right. So 30 seconds to go in the third period. 1-1 score. Both wrestlers on their feet, middle of the mat.
Perry wins this match. Oklahoma State takes the lead.
Yeah. It's been maybe the first time for quite a while that Penn State won't have the lead. Stall warning against Perry.
Yeah, Brown's just really doing a good job here. I mean, he's very cautious where he's at. He's keeping his hands low.
But Perry likes the edge. That's where he likes to score.
And they work back to the center. There's 5 seconds left here, so unless something really big happens, nope, that's it.
Sudden victory. As Murph likes to call it, sudden death.
Yeah.
I think the officials got to push Mr. Perry to.
Yep.
He's going to get in trouble if he doesn't keep moving here. He doesn't attempt something.
He's been known for the inactivity. But then, boom, just like that, he'll see something and go for it and finish it.
Let's see it.
Yeah, pull the trigger, Chris.
Yeah.
We're in overtime here. Let's see it.
Brown really trying to keep low. He's really got his hands down, heavy hands, really guarding against Perry coming in with something. But Brown's certainly been the aggressor on this thing. And Perry continues to back up, and Brown just stalks him.
Collar tie right now. Sudden victory means takedown wins at 22 seconds to go. Otherwise, we get into a ride-out situation. So each wrestler gets to start in the up or down position in the referee's position. So Brown gets a little aggressive. His headgear of Perry comes off. John Smith, he's talking to the referees, Jeff Murphy.
Yeah.
He's great at it. John Smith is a great negotiator.
Yeah.
He needs to get into politics.
John will work those refs, and now Perry's headgear's broken. So now they got to figure out how they're going to fix
Perry's
that.
upset with Brown because he's ripping at the back of the headgear a little bit. But, Brown has every reason to be upset with Perry because Perry's backing up. He's backing up.
Trying to keep Perry close.
It's like, hey, bud, I got to do
if Brown's not complaining, Perry shouldn't be complaining, I'll tell you that.
Of course, the whole time that John Smith is trying to fix the headgear, he's just jawing away at the referee.
Yeah, John Smith talking to the refs. Come on, Jeff.
Yeah. One of my favorite people in wrestling.
Yeah,
and in life.
Yeah,
John Smith, the whole Smith family.
It's so funny. We were at the Big 12 tournament about 2 years ago, and two of the referees, one Matt Zisk, had not he made a couple of calls that John really didn't like, and John waited till 2 matches later, and then John kind of sashays down to where Matt was sitting off to the side and just chews on him, then back down the auditorium.
Just like, if not now, the win.
Yeah, exactly. And we were, of course, sitting in the front row and giving John a little bit of grief, and Matt appreciated the fact that we
didn't ever think I'd see a 6-time world champ get booed, but his headgear, he says, hey, being a coach, that wasn't one of my job descriptions, was it?
To fix headgear?
To be a headgear repairman?
You think he'd have one of the assistants out there doing it.
Yeah, is that my job description?
All right, so back to live action with 11 seconds left in this sudden victory period.
Yeah, Brown coming in deep, you know. Perry has a low stance, too, both in the tripod stance. Here we go with the right outs, guys.
Yeah, so we're going to have a tiebreaker here.
Perry Brown, he looks to Cale Sanderson, and Cale Sanderson tells Brown, take down.
Yep.
Casey Cunningham also in the corner. I think it's Esposito and Smith in the other for Oklahoma State. Zach Esposito and
so Brown is down. We'll see how well Perry can ride.
Back up again.
Perry didn't ride him very long the first time around, but he's doing a lot better this time around.
Powerful legs, takes him out of bounds. Perry knows where the edge is. He keeps tracking. He uses it.
Yeah.
And it's legal as long as he's not officially stalling. Now you can't, if you go out of bounds intentionally.
22 seconds. Oh, Perry immediately goes to the ankle, and Brown's dragging him around the mat. Oh, and the referee calls a stalemate, and I agree with the stalemate, but I'm not sure that if Perry goes that ankle again, I think
stalling.
But if the ref calls it that Perry's going to lose a national title on a stall call, will the ref have enough guts to make that call?
Now he comes up tight with the grapevine.
Throws in both legs.
Grapevine ride right here. He's going for he almost looks like the choke
him out, yeah.
He's up underneath, so it's keeping it legal as long as he's underneath that arm.
Perry rides him out.
Perry rides Brown out. Here we go.
Very interesting. Wow.
Perry wins these close ones. Look at Brown. He's psyched. He's looking
Brown looks over at Cale and he says, should I start? Should I just cut him right away?
Think of the coaches
and
right
Cale gives him coaching, and Cale says, no, I don't think you better do that.
Ride him?
Because I think he's got to ride him, because if he cut him, Perry's just so tough. All right, well, he pretty much lets him out right away.
Well, Perry had a quick stand-up, too, so I don't know. Perry's got to stay busy here.
Yep, so Brown's going to have to go. Brown's got a national title.
Perry's in on the leg.
Yep, Perry's in on the leg where he can hang forever. 15 seconds left.
Kind of a gator roll here.
Now here's where that ref needs to call the same stalemate call he did before. He was quick on it before. Let's be a little quicker on it now, and he's not going to call it.
3.
Yeah, see, I think that's a bad.
3 seconds to go.
I just think that's a bad call by that ref.
Brown in on a shot, possibly. Perry is your win. We said before, if it's a close match, Brown's in trouble.
Yep, he could.
Pretty.
Yep.
Not pretty, but he wins the match.
You know, the thing I guess I see is that, and Perry won that fair and square, so I got no argument with that. But my one argument with it is the referee, Perry immediately went to that ankle in when he was on top, and the referee let him drag around for only about 3 seconds before he called a stalemate. But yet Perry got in on that ankle the next go round. Brown's trying to get him off of it, and the referee did not stalemate. That didn't look very consistent to me.
Well, you know, I also think that Brown was the aggressor all 3 periods. He was moving, he was circling and moving forward, shooting, penetrating, scrambling, going out of bounds, and
you know what's amazing?
And to see him backing up like that and then dropping down on the ankle and sort of biding his time, the result is Oklahoma State's in first place right now.
That's right, Billy Baldwin. Yeah,
good. And he wins.
Good. You know what else is amazing about that? That's probably about the fair description Billy Baldwin just did of every one of Perry's matches.
Yeah, every one of Perry's matches.
Every one of them. If somebody wasn't keeping track of the score, they didn't understand wrestling, they would say, how's the guy in the orange winning?
Yeah.
But you know what? He wins.
Right.
He wins.
He won it
it's
totally
legal.
Fair and square.
Congratulations to Chris
Congratulations to him and to John Smith, and let's see what happens with these remaining
knows what he's doing.
Penn State finalists.
He's got a great technician. Boy, just think of those corners, you guys. Cale Sanderson, John Smith in the corners. Wow, that's quite a good brain trust.
A little experience there.
Wow, think of what they've accomplished when they were on the mat.
So
Now, it's going to sound like people are booing here in a minute, but I don't want them to think they're booing.
Well,
it's the Penn State people behind us saying Ruth.
Well, they were booing a minute ago, but that's a different story.
It won't be for in a little bit.
But the thing about Chris Perry is, now let me go back. I'm going to go a different direction. The thing I'd say about Penn State is, so now those guys who had stomachs that were churning a little bit, they get a little tighter and a little more tense.
That's
because,
right.
hey, Oklahoma State's taking the lead.
They have taken the lead. They sure have. So we're going to have the Vermonster and Ed Ruth coming up here pretty quick.
The only weight I haven't chosen a winner here is Welsh and St. John, and I don't know enough about either one of them. What's your feeling there?
Wildcat.
Yeah, okay.
We'll go with the Wildcat, but,
I'll go with your recommendation.
Well, if Welsh can turn this into a scrambling match, he's got it. So, Perry, there's your champ, guys.
Yep.
Our listeners probably can't hear what he's saying, so.
But Scotty Casper's interviewing them as they come off the mat. So
Scotty too hotty.
So we get a couple of, I think ESPN catches them first for a couple of words, then Scott catches them for a couple of words, so everybody in the auditorium gets to see.
He is the champ, so Mr. Scott Casper's out there with the portable mic. And boy, I tell you, when he's got the portable mic on him, you remember what we call him when he does the cage interviews?
Yeah.
The riot starter.
Yeah, that's right.
Scott might just start a riot before it's all over. But we all love Scott Casper, don't we?
Well,
he's one of a kind. And Billy, you know what? When he fell in love with wrestling, he was Herky the Hawk for years when his roommate was he's only told me 1,000 times, his roommate in college.
You mean you forgot something?
Yeah.
I find that hard to believe, Steve.
Yeah, but
showing your age.
Yeah, my hard drive's all full at 50. When you get in your 50s, your hard drive fills up.
I'm a member of the club.
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
But I'll tell you what, he fell in love when he went to the Iowa wrestling practice room and he saw the Bannock's sparring and the Bannock's wrestling in the practice room. And he said, you know what, Steve? He looked at me. He said, Steve Foster, that's when the kind of the spirit of wrestling come over me. And he said, I never wrestled, but he said, this thing is real.
Yeah.
This is the most pure sport in the world. I got to be part of this no matter what it costs me. And it was the Bannock brothers that really inspired him. So it's good stuff.
They inspired me. I was on the New York State Freestyle and Greco team in that team that I was like sort of the team mascot when Eddie and Lou and Steve were on it. But later on, I became a member of that team and came out here and wrestled freestyle in the junior nationals here in Iowa. I don't remember where they were that year, if they were in Iowa City or if they were here in Des Moines. I think Iowa City.
Iowa City, Des Moines,
I used to look up as a junior high, 7th, 8th, 9th grade wrestler. I used to look up to the Bannock brothers. Yep. They were my heroes.
Two of the all-time greats, as far as the big guys go, Louie and Ed. Of course, the amazing thing about Lou is he was always outweighed by about a ton. And he always came out on top.
So tough.
He was to do what he did and weigh no more than he did at the heavyweight was truly amazing. Here comes the Vermonster.
Yep, Robert Hamlin from Lehigh University.
And out of the green corner, as a junior from Penn State, Ed Ruth.
And Ed Ruth.
They're booing, guys.
Ed Ruth. All right. This one's going to be fun.
This will be fun. Ruth's fast, quick, loves the cradles, all three of them, inside, outside, suicide. And he's been using the suicide cradle more than any cradle. He waits for his opponent. Sometimes he hardly waits for him to do an outside stand-up. But if the Vermonster comes up with his outside leg, he's going to grab that, come across the neck, get the momentum going, do a somersault, and end up on top with the cradle. We saw him doing it in Champaign, and he's done it a lot. Scott, Jeff Murphy, these guys have met before.
Yeah, they have. So Hamlin's was 22-3 on the year coming into this tournament. He lost 3 times. He lost to Ben Bennett, who we saw earlier today.
Yeah.
Who was a number 2 seed, wound up getting fourth. Wound up getting fourth, lost to Bozak in the 3rd place match. He lost to Mason Bailey from Navy early in the season. I think that was an injury default or something to that effect. And then he lost to Ed Ruth, 11-9. So they have met once this year. And Ruth, obviously, 28-0, undefeated on the season.
Up a weight.
Undefeated last year. And last time he lost was in these NCAA tournaments 2 years ago.
Up against Amusha Stegi, as we mentioned in the earlier part of the broadcast. So it's going to be fun to see how these two mix it up. They're both Just tough for Monster. I'm sure he'd love to win a title for the state of Vermont. I think our research tells us that's never happened before. As a prep, anyway, coming out of high school, and we're on the go here, guys.
He's from Jonesville, Vermont. Robert Hamlin, Ed Ruth from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Already 2 shots there by Hamlin, just kind of reach shots though.
Yep.
101-2 career record to date for Ruth. 101 victories, 2 losses.
That's phenomenal.
He's in on a single. He's got his 2. Ruth has his 2.
Really quick.
Very quick. So
just smooth.
That
I think is the way to say it.
I glanced down at his record and I looked up and they were on the mat.
Yeah, exactly.
So Robert Hamlin, like you say, he's out of Jonesville, Vermont.
Yeah. I think this is the match that, if you polled everybody in the auditorium, you probably have 99% of them suggest that Ruth was going to win this one. He's
Ruth might be able to help us someday, Murphy. He's majoring in communications.
That'd be good. We'll get him on as an expert commentator.
There you go.
Yeah, Caleb, you're out. Ruth is in.
Yeah, Robert Hamlin, material science and engineering. What do we got?
Caleb,
You're getting a lot of quick clasping calls, interlocking the hands calls in this tournament.
1 point for Hamlin.
I've seen quite a few of them.
Absolutely.
So Ruth locks his hands.
You have your arms around him, you go to the mat. Yeah. They're almost calling it as soon as there's contact with the mat, rather than giving him the 1 beat to separate the clasp.
Absolutely.
Yeah, reactionary time. They talk about sometimes reactionary time.
So Hamlin up on his feet, trying to get hand control. Ruth grabs him by the legs and throws him back to the mat.
When you're in the up position and your opponent stands up, you got so much time to take him to the mat, or you get hit for a stall. So.
Yep, Ruth takes him back down the mat. They're right on the edge. Now, Ruth locks up the cradle, but they're out of bounds.
He's a cradling machine.
Yeah.
We've talked about Steve Monk from North Dakota State. Bison as a cradler, but I think Ruth's even a little bit better cradler.
Ruth's a phenomenal cradler.
He does those cradles inside, outside, and suicide.
And he doesn't waste any time at all once he throws it.
He's got those long arms.
Locks it up and throws him over. Hamlin to his feet again, tries a little bit of I thought he was trying to do some kind of a Granby, but I think it was just Ruth taking him to the mat. They're right on the edge again and out of bounds, so the ref will start him over in the center.
Minute 21 seconds to go. Minute and 12 seconds riding time for Ruth. So a lot of getting some riding time.
So Hamlin tries to little half switch, gets to his feet, again trying to get hand control, tries to turn into him. Ed Ruth picks him up, thumps him to the mat.
Throws him back down. It's a legal throw because his knees hit before his opponent.
Yep.
1:05 to go in the first period. Look at the riding time keeps ticking up there for Ruth. So.
Yep. Oh, Ruth with the cradle locked
cradle.
Up. Not quite. Yeah. Doesn't quite get it. Looked like he was going to get it, but he didn't quite have it. Hamlin up to his feet now. Ruth picks him up and thumps him down again.
So Penn State trying to get the team lead back here.
Yep. Not a lot of score in this match.
Very physically dominating here, though. He's pushing the kid around. He's bullying him quite a bit.
So there's his cradle.
I thought he had a lock up again. Yeah. Everyone in the place, when you see that cradle start to come, everybody holds their breath waiting for it. So
Penn State contingency behind us.
Hamlin doing a good job of avoiding that cradle. I mean, he's
that's
careful.
Pretty much what he's primarily focused on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, just don't let him cradle me. Instead of trying to get out, your mind could almost probably
get consumed. He's afraid to stick his head out.
Yeah. Bruce got a wrist now. Now he's back to chop. And Hamlin really not doing anything. Trying to get up every once in a while, but
good arm chops
really
there
carefully
by Ruth. And out of bounds we go. It's the end of the first period, and 2-1 is the score. So
2 minutes and 33 seconds of riding time for Ruth.
Ruth will start down. Hamlin, the Vermonster, on top. Vermont Prep. That great state up in the northeast.
So Ruth up to his feet, gets hand control, and
he's up and out.
Yep.
Hamlin releases him.
Yep, 9 seconds into the second period. So we'll see what Ed Ruth can throw. Hamlin with just a kind of a little half-hearted sweep.
Yep. 2:25 of riding time for Ruth, so a lot of riding time for Ed Ruth. Penn State.
I mean, Hamlin's just really defensive on this whole thing. It looks like he doesn't. He's got shots, but Ruth just peels him off.
Yeah, he does. Oh, Hamlin could win matches. We've seen him. He's not out of it. It's not over till it's over.
Ruth with kind of a little half shot.
Hamlin keeping his hips back. Kind of a square stance. Ruth's more of a southpaw stance.
Hamlin tries to go in on a single leg.
There's his nice ankle grab with an underhook.
Yep. Hamlin's picking it up a little bit now.
Yeah, you feel that too, Billy?
Yeah,
it just
trying
seems
to
like
push the pace.
He kind of realizes, hey, the second period, I need points.
Yep.
So if I'm going to come out on top, I got to score.
Yep. Hamlin backing up a little bit towards the edge again.
He's going to have to wrestle the edge. Perry did a good job of that, wrestling on the edge. Never really scored from it. But
Hamlin had Roos' wrist, but now Roos has got Hamlin's wrist. They go out of bounds, so we'll restart with 52 seconds left in this second period.
Kind of collar tie there. 2:25 of riding time. 3-1. Ruth leads Robert Hamlin, Ed Ruth for Penn State. The Nittany Lions. Likes that underhook, Hamlin does.
Yeah.
Like he wants to, there's an underhook, but a slip.
Careful there.
Yeah.
Kind of a slip.
That was a little sloppy.
Yeah, it was. He got out of position.
Can't get away with that with Ruth. I'm sorry. You got to be real careful.
And they go out of bounds again, so we'll come back and restart at the center with 28 seconds left in this second period.
Big outside shot there.
That's
by Ruth.
That's
23 seconds to go.
Referee hasn't given it yet, though.
A little bit of half whizzer there by Hamlin.
Yeah,
gives it up.
There it is.
Takedown. Boy, scoring at the end of the period or at the edge of the mat.
Yeah.
Your opponent just can't respond to that.
Well, and I guess the thing is,
Very
oh
smart.
boy.
Hamlin trying to come out.
Hamlin
no back
tries to
points
sit
there.
out. Ruth almost chin drops him.
Yeah, he snapped him back.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, the thing about that with, and that's the end of the period, so at the end of two, it's 5-1 in favor of Ed Ruth with 2 minutes and 42 seconds of riding time.
I tell you, Hamlin is in good shape, but this Ruth is a specimen, man.
Yeah,
I mean, he's
he is.
one of the best physiques
flashy.
in all of the tournament. He is just really strapped together.
So Hamlin up to his feet immediately, trying to get hand control. Ruth takes him back to the mat. You know, Hamlin had that whizzer in, but you couldn't really throw that whizzer too hard because Ruth's going to cradle him up on that move.
You're opening yourself to the inside cradle.
Yep, so he thought better of that and bailed out.
He'll come right over your head and lock his hands, get the inside cradle locked up, and you'll be counting the lights.
Yep, so right on the edge, Ruth picks him up and sets him down again. So they'll go back to the center and start again. Minute and 35 left in this match. You know, the crowd's a little, they're all on the edge of their seat waiting for the big move to happen. And I think they're all a little disappointed that we're into the third period and they haven't seen it.
Yep. 1 minute and 30 seconds
Two
to go.
storied programs with great traditions. You know, Lehigh with all their history on the rebound now, coming back, and
Used to be known as the Engineers, now the Mountain Hawks.
some great wrestling history there in the 60s and 70s.
Oh,
Great
yeah.
stuff.
So many of them. Yeah, Daryl
Burley.
Back in the days when they dominated Penn State.
Absolutely.
They were the powerhouse of the East.
Bannock brought up Colin Kilrain the other day.
Oh,
when we
yeah.
were interviewing him. He said,
There's a name I haven't heard for a long time.
He said, me and Kilrain. He said, boy, when I locked up with Colin, I knew I had my work cut out for me. Lehigh, and that's when they were the Engineers. They come back now. They're called the Mountain Hawks.
So we've got 54 seconds left in this third period. Both wrestlers on their feet. Ed Ruth up 5-2 over Hamlin.
Pete Yozo was another one of my favorites.
Yazzo. He's a Long Island boy like me.
Yazzo was great, man.
So Ruth tries to take Hamlin down with a single leg right on the edge of the mat. Hamlin scrambles pretty good. Ruth pulls him on, snaps behind. And
Nice, go behind.
there's the takedown for Ruth. So 7-2 now.
Wow.
And the
So quick.
Hamlin with the escape. Their Penn State fans are yelling, cut him, because they want him to see him go for the extra points in the major decision.
He strikes like lightning.
Yep, Ruth in on an ankle right away. 26 seconds
Another
left.
2 points.
And he gets a 2. So now it's 9-3, and the whole Penn State and Cody Sanderson or
Casey Cunningham.
Casey Cunningham's yelling, cut him. Everybody in the crowd. There's 14 seconds. Ed
I
Ruth
guess they're
needs
looking for
one more.
bonus points here, huh?
Absolutely. Ruth's going to see if he can get that one more takedown. Easy.
That's a big 2, guys.
So that's a major. That's a bonus point there.
11 and Ruth
riding
wins it.
time.
Ed Ruth with a 12-4 victory. So that bonus point, 1 point bonus point for the major decision. So he gets the 4 points for the win plus 1 for the major decision, and Penn State gets back into the lead.
Well, all due respect to Mr. Hamlin, he's a great wrestler, but clearly this gentleman, Mr. Ruth, is in a class by himself. He really is.
absolutely.
The night
That was
belongs to Ruth.
that was not a competitive match.
No, that really wasn't a competitive match. So with that bonus point, if you think about it, Oklahoma State had taken, a 1-point lead
They got it back.
Tournament, and so now that with that 5 points, Penn State would have to lose everything else, and Anthony Nilsson would have to score some bonus points in order for Minnesota to win this thing.
No, Oklahoma State. Oliver.
I'm
Jordan
sorry,
Oliver.
not Anthony.
Jordan
I'm stuck
Oliver.
on, Jordan Oliver. I'm stuck on Michigan earlier in the day thinking about how we're going to get there. Yep, Jordan Oliver, you're exactly right.
So, wow, that was a big match, guys. I'm still kind of, just in my mind, reminisce. But Tom Arnold, by the way, was his roommate. So
Oh, that's
that
right.
finally
that's
came
right.
out of my hard drive there. So because I've talked to Tom on Scott's cell phone, and he always says, "Tell him I want my $50."
Yeah.
So whatever that means, Tom, Scott still believes you owe him $50.
So
and he always uses me as the go-between guy.
So they're giving out the medals here for the 125-pound class, and while they are real quick, let's run down the All-Americans from the 125-pound class. So in 8th place was Stephen Cox from Wyoming, and in 7th place was not John Thorne, David Thorne. Yep. I knew John in college. David Thorne from Minnesota. In 6th place was Garnett from Virginia Tech. In 5th place is Sprinkle out of North Dakota State University. In 4th place was Alan Waters from Missouri. Yep. In 3rd place was Garnett from Cornell. Garrett, sorry. Yep. Garrett and Garnett, both in that class, always messes me up.
And they did wrestle, boy. We had fun with that.
Let me back up, boys. We didn't start at the 125-pound class.
Yeah. As soon as you went up to Megaludus, I realized we're on the wrong way.
Yeah, go back to the right place. Start 70.
Pulled a Steve.
There we go.
All right.
You see, this is
pulled
not
a
your
Steve.
fault.
I did.
You pulled a Steve Foster.
Maybe I just ought to listen to what the announcer has to say.
We're going to call that an ESPY. That was called by ESPN. That was caused by ESPN.
Yeah.
You were ESPY.
They mess me up big time. Let me borrow your pen a minute, Steve-O.
Yeah. He pulled a Steve-O. I did that earlier. Remember that? Jeff Murphy said, "Don't feel." I lived through it. You'll live through it too, buddy. So, Ed Ruth getting interviewed right now by Scotty Too Hottie. Doing a good job. There he is, guys. Wow, big win there for Mr. Ruth. He's not done. He's a junior. So wow, that's big, guys. Yeah, you're gonna have to get your flashlight.
Yeah, because
cell phone out.
I can't see a darn thing.
Turn the lights out. It gets worse.
You know, I was talking about the returning wrestlers to Penn State, and one thing that I also think is interesting, I think you make a very good point. Cornell is going to be competitive. Minnesota is going to be competitive. Of course, Oklahoma State's going to be competitive. I think Oklahoma's a couple of years away. But one of the things, and we may have talked about this again last year, is, you know, when Gable was in Iowa, Gable got all the kids from Iowa. He retained all the great kids from Iowa, and he cherry-picked kids from New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Ohio.
Yep.
And by Cale coming to Pennsylvania, last year there was 25, 30 kids from New York. There was 35, 40 kids from Ohio. There was like 60 kids in this tournament that qualified from high schools out of Pennsylvania. Cale in Pennsylvania is keeping the best in Pennsylvania there.
It'll make them solid.
And then he's going to cherry-pick the kids from New Jersey and Ohio, and dare I say, maybe even Iowa.
Yep.
And I just think that that's why they're positioned and poised for potential dynasty and greatness for you know, a decade to come. You talk about that 9 years in a row with Gable. It's very premature. If they win tonight, it'll be their third. But they're really positioned well.
Right, and I tell you, Gable used to keep the Iowa kids. A lot did end up names too, but you're right, at Iowa State. And then he'd go out and get the Rico Chaparellis. He'd go out and get the Ray Brinzers. He'd go out and get those kids, like Billy said, out east, and just kind of, hey, I need a 58-pounder.
Yeah,
I need a 65-pounder.
We had, like I said, I think 28 kids from New York, like 38 kids from Ohio, and 60 kids from Pennsylvania in this tournament last year. Those three states probably constituted, you know, 40% of the competitors in this tournament last year.
That's huge.
And those states have real competitors, and there's great kids coming out of New Jersey as well.
Yep. So let's go over those All-Americans really quickly, and we'll do it better the next time, I promise. So in 8th place, Cody Walters out of Ohio. In 7th place, Jordan Blanton out of Illinois. In 6th place was Mike Evans from the University of Iowa. In 5th place was Nick Heflin out of Ohio State. In 4th place was Logan Storley out of Minnesota. 3rd place to Robert Kokish. from Nebraska. Second place to Matt Brown from Penn State. And your 174-pound national champion, Chris Perry from Oklahoma State University.
It might not have been real pretty, but Perry won it. He's the champ.
Absolutely. Can't take it away from him.
That's right. And he is not a senior, so he'll be back trying to repeat. Speaking of repeats, here we go, guys. Quentin Wright's already won this thing before, and so has Dustin Kilgore. Kent State and Penn State again. The trifecta.
I'm 2 for 2 so far. It's early, but I'm 2 for 2.
There you go.
See what happens here.
That's all right. Yep. I tell you, Dustin Kilgore's already been here, and he beat my distant cousin Clayton Foster a couple years ago, and Foster was up. But you know what, Dustin Kilgore proved to me, it's not over till it's over. He's always dangerous. He's so strong. He's got a lot of balance. He's almost got gorilla strength. Great lungs. He doesn't wear out.
We're underway.
Wright's more of a scrambler. He's more of going to use leverage and positioning on the mat. He's got some funk. He can get a little funky on you, Wright can. It's hard to scramble concrete, as I mentioned earlier, you know. Kilgore's just so strong.
Yep.
Nickname Killer.
Well, we talked about it. Wright's going to have to get after it early in the match.
Dustin Kilgore went out to eat with his cousin in a restaurant with Scott Casper and us in Evanston, Illinois. He said he eats 2 dozen eggs every day. Eats a couple dozen eggs every day.
You know, coming out of animal agriculture like I do, we like guys like that.
Yeah, that's right. It's going to help. It's going to help with your job security, Jeff
That's
Murphy.
right.
So,
Oh, wow. Quentin Wright with a nice trip there.
he's tricky. He's effective with his stuff, too.
Yep. So,
he loves these body rides.
Yep.
Really does. Want to light it up here against Mr. Dustin Kilgore. So,
Yep. 1 minute into it, and then Wright just steps out of it and cuts him, and back
he'll
to his
take
feet.
risk. He's got
Absolutely.
interesting hips.
So 2-1. Kilgore tries to go in on sort of a little duck under.
Duck under. There. Yep. Tell you what, Wright's got long legs, and he really he keeps them far apart. He's hard. He's like a table with an extra leg almost. He's hard to get off his feet. He is. He's almost, you know, do we dare call someone bow-legged? But he just gets out there. It's hard to get him off his base. He's kind of got that bow-legged stance.
This trip. Nice.
Yeah, very nice.
It's quick, too.
So a minute and 30 seconds left in this first period. Right in on a single, Kilgore on a single leg takes Wright to the mat.
He's tough, man. He wants to get in law enforcement, his cousin told me.
He says, I'm not going to mess around here.
I know if he was chasing me with handcuffs, I'd just say, go ahead and put them on. I'm not going to fight you. Can't imagine with him with a weapon in his hand. His hands themselves are weapons, so he's going to be good in law enforcement.
Kilgore really riding heavily up on the head. Wright with his head down on the mat. Not going to score many points that way. Going to have to base up.
Minute and just 47 seconds, pardon me, to go in the first period. We've had 2 takedowns, one by each athlete, and with Kilgore with the escape. So Kilgore will start on top. He got the last takedown. See what he does from the top position. Nice stand up there by Wright. All tied up.
Both Kilgore and Wright come into the tournament undefeated, come into this match undefeated.
Yeah, neither athlete's lost this year. Wright's had some close matches. Not that Kilgore hasn't.
Kilgore's going to watch for that collar tie there.
Yeah. Big old ham hock down on the back of Wright's neck.
He's done that twice now.
Penn State fans didn't think much of that.
He must be a Seminole fan. That looked like a tomahawk chop.
Yeah,
lots of activity in this first period. We got 14 seconds left, and they're really scrambling quite a bit here.
They've been busy.
Yeah,
they've been going after it. That's a Kilgore match. He likes a high-paced match. He's kind of. It's a true story about him going to Alaska and living up there and living off the land. And he said, I don't know how many cords of wood I chopped, but he said, I chopped wood every day.
Yeah, so the end of the first period, it's 3-3. All tied up. Kilgore with 30 seconds of riding time.
Tough on top. Both these guys are good freestylers. I know Kilgore made a run for the Olympics, didn't quite make the team, but he made a lot of noise, I know, on his Olympic redshirt year just last year. Had some great success in the freestyle.
Kilgore starts on top, and he rides. Wright tries to get up, but Kilgore rides him off the edge of the mat. They'll come back to the center.
Wright's got good strategy. He's a real strategic type of wrestler. Real mat savvy. He knows where he's at all the time. He's real mat aware where he is.
Up and out.
Yep. So Wright up and out really quickly, 9 seconds into the match.
Not that Kilgore doesn't have technique, but he's got a lot of power. He just likes to do those straightforward power moves. A lot of brute strength. 1:35 to go in the second period. 40 seconds of riding time in favor of Kilgore. So
Kilgore on the back of the head a lot.
Trying to cut the angle there was Wright. Wright's quick. He's deceptively fast.
Yep.
Quentin Wright is.
Both
collar
wrestlers,
tie.
Yep, tied up.
Between these two, somebody's going to take a shot, maybe at the 1:13 mark to go. The second period. Couple shots now by Kilgore, actually.
I think Wright's just
looking for his opportunity.
He is. I think he's just a little bit setting him up, hoping he'll get leaned in just correctly. And
wants to seize the moment.
Yeah.
Right.
If he can get Kilgore coming towards him, Wright's got a really nice inside trip. We've seen that before.
Yeah, he's dangerous. He's real dangerous. Kilgore can pin too, though. He proved that 2 years ago in the finals against Foster.
Yeah.
When he pinned Clayton from Oklahoma State Cowboys. Idaho prep, Foster was.
I'd say Kilgore's been the aggressor in this match thus far. Oh, right in on a double leg, but Kilgore just peels him back off. So both wrestlers still on their feet. 35 seconds left here in this second period.
It's that strength. Wright, most guys would have got to been taken down there by Wright. There's a big shot at the edge of the mat. Trying to cover the hips is Wright.
Yeah, but Kilgore's got that whizzer in. Oh, Wright limp arms him and gets it. Oh, and the ref calls him off the mat.
Cale Casey don't like it. Big limp arm there.
It's right on the edge. And Cale says, "Wait a minute, we're gonna review this one
if he's got any left."
No, the green flag is up, so he must. So, one of the new rules this year we talked a little bit about is that each team has 3 challenges for the entire tournament to use if they think that the referees made a poor call or an incorrect call. And once you use them up,
if you challenge and you win, you retain your 3 challenges. If you challenge and you lose one of your challenges.
Absolutely.
So I don't know how many he has left.
So, you just have to use them judiciously. But
boy, oh boy, with 10 weight classes and all those wrestlers, to get 3 of those for the entire tournament, they ought to review that and give I think the coaches should probably have 5 of those.
Yeah, well, and the other thing they talked about, too, was that, whether you have 1 wrestler here or 10 wrestlers here, you get 3 challenges. So that really gives a little bit of an advantage to some of those coaches that are here with only
lesser
1 wrestler.
Athletes, you're more apt to be able to put those to use, but your basket of those challenges could empty real fast.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how the strategies play out.
No takedown. I think that's a good call. I think they were on the edge. They went out of bounds, but
yeah, I guess my question is, though, it sure seemed to me when we saw it up on the big board, because it's hard to see the angle from here,
the edge of the mat,
that at least one of those wrestlers had part of their body still in bounds, and that's the rule. I mean, if one toe's in the cylinder.
Yeah. What's the ruling when they're reviewing, though? Is it like the NFL where you have to have incontrovertible evidence?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think so, I really do,
All right, so they're looking on the big board, showing
down, and Wright leads this, guys, 4-3.
4-3. Third period just underway. Kilgore, go ahead, up to his feet.
He needs to get his hands cleared, though. Wright can ride. He's got a spiral ride there, kind of. He releases Kilgore, so we're tied up, guys, 4-4. It won't end this way.
Minute and 45 seconds left in the third period.
27 seconds of riding time.
Collar tie. You notice in the collar tie, Wright's usually going back. The power belongs to Kilgore, the physical power. But, of course, that's when Wright likes to cut the corner and go after that outside leg. A nice little underhook. Wow.
Quentin Wright with a beautiful single leg there. That is impressive.
Nice little under. Just off that underhook.
Yep, rolls it right around, takes him down. Just a beautiful move. So Quentin Wright up 6-4 with 1 minute and 16 seconds left. The pace of this match will pick up considerably now.
Should. Kilgore knows what he's doing. Now, Kilgore was down to Foster 8-1 when he got the pin, so he's dangerous.
So Kilgore up to his feet and immediately shoots a takedown.
6-5.
Wright counters that. Both come up to their feet. Kilgore in again on a takedown, and both up to their feet, out of bounds.
Smart move there, right there by Kilgore to step out and get this thing fresh started.
Yep, minute and 4 seconds left.
He wants some fresh starts.
Look at that again.
Wright chucks it by, and 2 more for Wright. So Wright now up 8-5, and the Penn State contingent is alive behind us.
It's that technique of Wright. Just so technically
You said it yourself. I was wrong here, but you said finesse versus power. You like the finesse, and I don't like Kilgore's defense on that shot there. He's been taken down. He's gotten in deep a couple times and taken him down twice in the last 30 seconds. Whenever Kilgore's trying to shoot in on Wright, Wright is answering with a counter with the defense, and every time Wright's going in on, see there it again. There it is. Look at that.
Yeah, it's that reach too of
He's
Wright.
so
Wright's got that reach
He just
advantage.
sprawls back and comes around, cuts a corner, and
Kilgore has those shorter, troggier arms, and it's hard for him to get a hold of something. And when he can't get a hold of something, like Billy Baldwin just mentioned, Wright takes advantage of that with those long legs and those long arms.
Well, it's 8-6 with 30 seconds left in the match. So
Kilgore's going to have to get real busy, guys, or do the big knockout punch. Try to throw right to his
20 seconds
back,
left.
So, yeah.
Now, one takedown by Kilgore tie this thing up. So, but
Needs to
13,
get out
12
of bounds
seconds,
there.
and okay, referee calls him out of bounds. So, 11 seconds to a national championship.
2-on-1 Russian tie, collar tie.
Now, Kilgore just fighting him, or Wright just fighting him off.
Stall warning against Wright.
3 seconds.
3 seconds.
Wow.
Well,
Penn
for
State-
Quentin Wright to go from 84 to 97 and not get pushed around by these big guys, it's just impressive.
So Quentin Wright, national champion at 197 pounds, and that seals the deal for Penn State. So Quentin Wright, 2-time national champion now.
He's the senior, and he's done it, guys.
3-time finalist.
Great technician.
Yep.
That was very impressive. I have to say, I don't know what he did with the collar hand. He sort of threw the collar hand by and dropped right into like a sweeping single, almost like a feinted high crotch into like a sweeping
Momentum.
single. It was just beautiful.
He used Kilgore's
He did it
momentum.
3 or 4 times and took him down twice in the third period within 30 seconds. Very impressive.
Yeah, very impressive. And so we got the Penn State contingent, and they're excited because that wraps up the tournament for them.
Yeah, the team title is pretty well squared away there for the Penn State Nittany Lions.
So
I think mathematically that's over.
Yep,
now,
it's
'cause
over.
They won with Ruth, and they won with Quentin Wright.
Right. Yep.
And so ESPN down here interviewing Coach Gail Sanderson about his team's 3rd national title in a row. You know, Gail said when he went to Penn State, he said, well, I'm right now going to the hotbed of recruiting country, and he says, I think I got a better shot at winning national titles out there. And
He
you know
wants to
what?
build a dynasty.
He was right.
Did he win his first in his first year there or his second year?
Second year.
So
Second
he's
year.
been there 4 years.
Yep.
He's got 3 national championships. Not bad.
Not bad at all.
Yeah, pretty good start. Him
Not
and Ed
bad at
Bannock know each other real well, too, from the Iowa State days.
So interviewing Quentin Wright.
Thank you for being there all in 4 years. I just wanted to enjoy the moment. And, you know, no matter what happened, I just want to thank Jesus for helping me get to this.
Got a faith?
Thank you for watching.
Quentin Wright comes out on top, guys. He out-technique the killer.
Quentin Wright does a great job. Great job. 3-time finalist, 2-time national champion.
Tough kid, good kid. Just one of those Kel Sanderson disciples. So,
all right.
Talk to us about some place winners.
Well, so
will you,
I'm
Jeff?
going to talk about the 184-pound All-Americans, and I'll get this right this time. So in 8th place was Ryan Loader from the University of Northern Iowa. 8th place was Mike Larson. Maybe I won't get it right this time. And then they turned the lights down. I can't see in the dark. 8th place was Mike Larson from the University of Missouri. 7th place was Ryan Loader. I got excited about Loader from UNI as one of their first All-Americans in a long time.
Yep, wrestling for an Iowa college here.
Yep. In 6th place was Jimmy Sheptock from Maryland. In 5th place was Ethan Lofthouse from the University of Iowa. In 4th place was Ben Bennett from Central Michigan University. In 3rd place was Steve Bozak from Cornell, former national champion. In 2nd place was Robert Hamlin from the Lehigh. And your 2013 national champion at 184 pounds, Ed Ruth from Penn State.
They're not booing, guys. They're saying Ruth.
Yeah.
Billy Baldwin, I know Jeff Murphy, remember back in the day when we used to hear
Lou Bannock.
for New Bank.
Oh, yeah.
Every time I hear the Penn State contingency holler out Ruth for their excellent champion, Ruth, I think of Lou as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice to see Bozak come back for a third following his national championship.
Yep.
You know, he faced Ruth in the semis. Tough win there, but to see him come back in the wrestlebacks and take third. Is he a senior?
Yeah, he's a senior.
Bozak is a senior.
Very nice to end it on a high note like that. I think either way it was Bozak's year, even if he was on the other side of the bracket and met him in the finals. I think it was Ruth's year either way.
Yeah.
So, it'd be nice if he could have made it to the finals, but in fact, if he wrestled Hamlin in that side of the bracket, he might have been in the finals.
You're listening to Steve Foster, Jeff Murphy, the voice of Billy Baldwin here. The 2013 NCAA Division I Wrestling Championships right here at Wells Fargo Arena in the great town of Des Moines, Iowa. The capital city of Iowa is Des Moines.
All right, so we've got all of our All-Americans from 184 pounds down off the podium, and we're going to turn our attention to the
Get to the big guys.
Or the heavyweight. God, I'm just out of order tonight. I'm just
Get to that.
You've been
You're pulling
SP'd.
some Steve-O's. Pulling some Steve-O's. That's what I did a couple days
I'm
ago.
glad this isn't a 4-day tournament. Boy, oh boy.
Hey, Murphy, your hard drive's filling up.
Yeah.
That's what I said. So, as we age, those things creep in, but we love what we do, don't we, guys?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to see two big heavyweights here, but two heavyweights that are pretty mobile.
Yeah, they are. Tony Half Nelson, as we call him.
Yep, out of the red corner.
Kind of coined him when he pinned Galagayoff for the national dual champion.
Yep.
He pinned Galagayoff with a Half Nelson, and ever since then we just kind of been calling the Tony Half Nelson.
Yep.
He's
If
tough.
he
He's
beat
big. He's
Galagayoff,
strong.
he's got to be the favorite.
He's strong. Oh, he's a beast.
So Tony Nelson,
Nelson's a
yep,
beast.
absolutely, from a junior from University of Minnesota, and Mike McMullen, a sophomore out of Northwestern University. Of course, Nelson was last year's national champion, and McMullen finished third. Nelson was this year's Big Ten champion.
Sophomore,
and McMullen
junior.
finished third or second.
Sophomore and junior, so these guys come back. And this weight class empties out this year.
Yep.
We were just talking about all the seniors that were in this weight class this year. And Tony Nelson's a real specimen, and maybe more just because he's got a Minnesota singlet on. If we could bleach his hair blonde, maybe he could be a mini Brock Lesnar.
Hey, I'm going to tell you though, Steve and
Brock the Rock.
Steve and I rode up the elevator, so I've always seen Tony Nelson from a distance, and he looks huge.
At the Big Ten.
But we got on the elevator with him at the Big Ten, went up a couple of floors, and you know, he didn't look quite as huge up close as he does out there on the map. But nice kid though, really nice kid.
Yeah, Jeff, I've been telling you, it's that loose clothing he was wearing. We were heading up there. He was smiling the whole time. What a nice guy to talk to.
Yeah,
too,
really, really nice kid.
I guarantee his dad's here. His dad's a passionate wrestling fan. I got to do some more research and find out about his dad, because we've interviewed him in person on the radio. He's got some pretty good, nice cauliflower ears, his dad. So I got a feeling he comes from a wrestling heritage. And Mr. McMullen, real good sophomore. I know when he came out of high school, it was between him and Bobby Telford. Everybody was wanting McMullen or Telford to be their heavyweights, and Coach Drew Periano, Tim Szynski came out with the big recruit at heavyweight. He's had a great year. Had a little concussion issue there at the Midlands, and had to opt out of the tournament. But ever since then, he's just been on fire. They have met, right? Big Ten.
Yep, Big Ten title, our Big Ten championship match, and Nelson was a 4-1 winner. McMullen's lost 2 matches this year, to Nelson and then to Adam Chalfant from Indiana earlier in the season.
Big Adam Chalfant. The Indiana Hoosier.
Nelson only lost 1 match this year, and that was in the tiebreaker against Dom Bradley, lost 2-1.
The number 1 seed was Dom Bradley for the Missouri Tigers.
Yep, and that was late in the season at the National Duels.
National Duels, and that was quite a duel. The Minnesota Gophers beat the Oklahoma State Cowboys, and the Missouri Tigers defeated the Iowa Hawkeyes in the duel that day with a forfeit, I believe.
Yep.
And McMullen took it to Bradley in the semis. So Look out, Nelson. You never know what might happen.
Yeah.
Well,
he likes that 2-on-1 tie.
I do like McMullen because he's a really mobile heavyweight.
That's what I was saying before. He wrestled Gwizdowski last year in the wrestlebacks.
Right.
These guys were moving around like very agile 97 pounders.
Yep. Yeah, Billy mentioned that.
Scramble after scramble after scramble. This wasn't the classic big monsters out there just beating each other.
McMullen in on an ankle right away.
Right there, boy, that
See
ankle
if he can finish this. Nelson sort of draped over the top.
That's not a typical heavyweight move right there. Just as Billy was expounding on it, he does it.
Yep. So we'll see if he can pick that thing up. Nelson with a whizzer in, and I think they're going to wind up with a stalemate. Yep.
Yeah.
Matt Zisk says
almost 50% stalemate, maybe 50% potentially dangerous there too. Kind of the angle, the knee for Nelson. Kind of a half and half, a slap there by both wrestlers. Just kind of those forehead taps. It's all legal, but you got to aim them just right. 1:30 to go in the first period. Nice shot there by McMullen. That's been his. It's been the only shot actually in the match here for Michael McMullen for the Northwestern Wildcats. He's had a 7-5, a 5-3, a 6-2, a sudden victory win over the #1 seeded. So Michael McMullen doing a good job here. Came in here 22-3.
Nelson just got in fairly deep on a single, tried to switch over to a double, and he countered. McMullen countered with a sprawl.
Do that little Quentin Wright arm,
but they're right on the edge of the mat. Now Nelson's up and got the
limp arm it. Limp arm it. There you go.
He tries to limp arm it, but he's right on the edge. And again, he's still got the leg. Nelson does, but
he's strong. He's strong. I can see him pulling him back in.
He's working on it right now. He's pulling him back on the mat by the ankle.
He is
now he gets his arms around his waist, but McMullen and two right on the edge.
Yeah, he's physical. That came down to just brute power.
They're going to challenge this. I don't know why. I think Northwestern's going to challenge this.
True period.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, I don't know why. That looked like 2 to me.
Yeah, I think it's he didn't have the camera angle that we did.
Yeah,
because that was definitely 2 because Tony Nelson, I think,
covered the body.
They were well on the mat. I think he thought maybe they went off the mat before he had control, but they were clearly on the mat.
Yeah, because he had to hold that ankle. He pulled him on the mat a little ways, and then he kind of crawled up the leg and grabbed him around the body.
Lose this one.
Yeah, they were well on the mat. But we have the luxury here of being able to watch it on the big board where coaches are sitting right under the big board. So
Jay Borchell, also a former Iowa Hawkeye national champ from just a couple years ago, is in there corner coaching. I see Jay in there. A Cedar Rapids, Iowa prep. State
you ever
champion.
see those nature videos where a whale gets a hold of like a seal pup and it whacks it with its tail, so it's batting it through the air and starts toying with it?
Yeah, right, yeah.
When we wrestled Oklahoma State, that's what Galagayoff did to our heavyweight.
Yeah, that's what happened.
He just toyed with him.
Yeah, Galagayoff, man.
And to see the fact that he didn't even make it to the finals is
Don't tell Carell this, but I've referred to him as the mini experiment.
Yeah.
So don't tell him I've said that just because of his Russian heritage. But as long as Alexander doesn't hear me say that, I can call him the mini experiment. But he is a specimen, Galagayoff is. So
I have a new phone and I have lots of pictures on my iPhone, but let me show you one of my
all-time favorites.
One of my favorite pictures.
Oh, nice.
Nice. That's in my room. I got
the experiment.
I got a 5-foot picture of that in the corner of my room.
Okay, we've started again.
That is a good one, isn't it,
and
Billy?
the takedown was upheld.
Good taste, Billy Baldwin.
So they all start again. There's 8 seconds left in the period, and McMullen did escape.
And that picture's the 7-foot Polish guy, too. I think that's the 7-foot Polish guy he's trying to throw. And they went to wrestle later, and he would not wrestle anymore. Jeff Murphy, get us up to date.
Well,
what do you see?
So we're at the end of the first period now. The score is 2-1 in favor of Nelson. And Nelson does have 22 seconds of riding time. Tony decides to take down to start the second period.
Well, we'll see if he can keep Big Tony Nelson down here. Michael McMullen from the Northwestern Wildcats. I think he's going to have his work cut out for him because Nelson's just so powerful. He comes up to his feet, clears his hand, and regains the lead. Has that lead 3-1.
3-1. So
got that initial takedown, and now the escape, and now he leads. So it's big, guys, especially for heavyweights.
Yeah.
you got a 3-1 lead. In some weight classes, that's not that big a deal, but at heavyweights,
the thing I think with this heavyweight class, especially as mobile as McMullen is you're not going to see them lean on each other
nice
forever.
little move there. That was real.
You're just not going to see a lot of leaning and hanging around, especially with a 3-1 lead now. McMullen needs to go in and get a takedown to get this thing tied back up. So
got to keep it busy.
I think you're going to see a little more action here.
Split second reaction there by Nelson.
Yep.
That was a real unusual move, a little breaking down of the ordinary reality, I think I'd call that one.
And McMullen's headgear gets pulled off, so he puts it back on. We'll go back to center. 1:03 left in the second period. Nelson with 13 seconds of riding time right now.
My coach used to say when someone's getting you in that breaking down of ordinary reality move, at the same time you are doing some intense random daydreaming, guess what? You get taken down.
Yeah.
I'd say, Coach, that's deep. Just let me go get a double leg, would you?
All right, so we're doing some repair on the headgear again. You know, that's 2 headgear repairs out of 4 matches.
Yeah, Perry with a big one.
I'll tell you what, you know, I think a headgear company ought to sponsor this thing, and they could have a spare right there on the edge of the mat ready to go.
Well, we know we had Resolite on earlier. They got great mats here, with Resolite being the mats, but maybe they could make the headgears out of the mats.
Yeah, well.
Hey, how about J-Rob being coach out there in the corner, huh? Brandon Eggum, and Jay Robinson's had a tough year this year. You guys been in surgery.
With his health, yeah, he's got an
leg.
infection. He had some sort of an infection.
Yeah, and they had, I mean, for like 3 weeks, he had his leg completely apart. As
Wasn't
they
even
let it
able
all,
to coach a lot of the duels.
Then they sort of put it all back together
Seriously.
again.
I saw a picture
Have
of
you ever met a tougher
man. Oh,
Navy
no.
SEAL. Yeah.
Have you ever met a tougher guy?
No,
tough
I've
guy.
never met a tougher guy in my
And
life.
tough, I mean, you know, Kale was 159-0, Gable's
Sure,
Gable, but
right,
when it comes to like pure manhood and toughness,
Tough.
Yeah.
Easy. If you look it up in the, if you Wikipedia tough, guess whose name's
Yeah.
there?
you know when you're at the
J-Rob.
shooting range and you're shooting at the target and the guy pointing back at you,
Yeah.
that big tough-looking guy that's
Yeah.
pointing back at you, that's Jay Robinson.
That's it, man. Yeah. Get ready for the ricochet, maybe. So the ricochet of the bullet
He's just
might
a great
just bounce
man.
off.
And all my years coming here, I've never had a chance to corner him. But I used to, through Al Bevilacqua, I used to be around Gable and Robinson when Robinson was coaching with him back in the 70s, and they had the Dan Gable intensive camps and stuff like that. And I always just had the utmost respect for that guy.
And he's
the highest level.
And he's good with PR, public relations. He's great at sponsoring the sport. He does a lot of things to promote the sport that he loves.
All right, well,
he's a good promoter.
We need to thank the trainer here because he had an extra headgear in his bag, and
there you go.
They put it on. I tell you what, those Northwestern wrestlers, they come prepared.
Yeah, there's that low ankle shot again.
But he's
By
in better
McMullen.
shape now
Oh,
because
he's getting
but
it
he
up in
loses.
the air.
Yeah, he started to come out the back, and then he kind of lost his balance a little bit, and Nelson came around on top of him. I thought for sure he was going to get that takedown, but now
The power's just kind of shutting him down.
I don't think it's
Size.
going to happen.
He's got to keep his hips high.
We'll see.
Yeah, I just don't think he's
Stalemate.
going to have that upper body strength to lift all of Tony Nelson up that way.
Nelson's just so power. That
Very
power
interesting,
kicks
though.
in.
Nelson was bullying him and like head snapping
Yep.
him 3-4 times in a row, and he timed it, and he came off of one of those head snaps and dropped right in underneath. It was great.
Kind of like Wright did with Kilgore.
Yeah.
So we restart here at the center. 30 seconds left in this second period.
Collar tie between the two wrestlers. Tony Nelson, returning national champ, by the way. I think we've mentioned that maybe once, but he did win this in this weight class last year.
Yep.
So, boy, Minnesota's had some great heavyweights. They got those big Norwegian guys up there. They just do.
Yep.
You got
King Cole Conrad.
King Cole Conrad. Boy, that guy was
He was something else.
King was king. He was a beast. And then, of course, Brock the Rock Lesnar
Yeah.
coming out of the
You
Dakotas.
said there's a lot of attrition at heavyweight this year, but McMullen's got a couple of years left, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
He's got two
yeah.
years.
These are two of the maybe the only all the All-Americans. These might be the only two underclassmen.
Yeah,
Boy, they empty out.
Bradley and Galagayev. Hankey's a senior. Trice is a senior.
Matt Gibson.
Thomas
from Iowa
Sett's a
State.
senior. Matt Gibson's a senior. So
I'm not sure about Delaney from Citadel.
Delaney's a sophomore.
McMullen just hit a switch and then jumped up to. Thank you. That's okay. He just jumped up to his feet and got the escape. 3-2. 140 left in the third period. 3-2.
3-2. Boy, Nelson's been so strong. McMullen's been the guy taking the shots. Really, he's been good at that and taking the shots. And thank you guys. Appreciate that. Yeah, he has. So collar tie here. Somebody's got to cut the corner. 1 minute and 23 seconds to go. Just 21 seconds of riding time in favor of Nielsen, the returning national champ. There's that low shot again.
Yeah, but Nielsen counters it really nicely.
Wow.
And I'll tell you what, 3-2 now.
5-2.
5-2, I'm sorry. 5-2 in favor of Nielsen.
Picking up some more riding time. He can get over the minute here if he can stay inside. There's that Tony half Nelson.
All right, so we've got 1 minute left.
Galagayoff can tell you what happened if he belly out and he gets that half Nelson. Is right, Jeff?
Yeah, McMullen's got to get to his feet immediately, and then we're going to have to see some scramble.
He's going to have to stay busy.
Going to have to push. He's done a good job thus far.
Nelson's just so good. He's so steady. He's just steady plodding.
Nelson just riding tough.
Yeah, in a real workman-like fashion, just kind of blue-collar wrestling.
Now Nelson has him broken down to his belly, and that's not a good sign because Nelson can ride really tough in this position.
38 seconds to go in the third and final period.
Yep.
Just about the minute here, almost.
I tell you, McMullen is not a small heavyweight, but standing next to
Nelson's bruised.
Nelson, he just looks like the size and the power is just a bit too much for him.
It is. He's just getting overpowered. I mean, he'd face it with the technique and whatnot. He's really been taking some of the low shots and creating the angles, but he can't finish him. Granby.
Yeah, but
Nelson
now
just
back to his belly, and that's.
There's a minute riding time.
Yep.
A lot of power.
25 seconds left in this match.
Up to his base is McMullen, then breaks him down. Now this is when Nelson likes to put the half Nelson in.
Yep.
And look at him. He's starting to work it. This is how he pinned the mini experiment. Galagayoff from Oklahoma State.
10 seconds.
Yeah. Nelson has a wrist, and he's not going to let
the Golden Gophers. There they are. Look at the fans up on their feet, coming down from Minnesota.
Absolutely.
National championship.
There we go.
2 in a row.
2 in a row as a junior.
Yeah.
And there's Dad. I've talked to Dad many times. He's a good guy.
That was a really good match.
Look at the guys in the singlets, the fans in the singlets.
Yep, all over here. That was a really good heavyweight match. I like it when there's some excitement to it and we're just not leaning into each other.
And you know what? McMullen has nothing to be ashamed of.
No.
He left it on the mat.
Yep.
I think he realized he had to take some risk.
Well, so he got a 3, and this year he got a 2, and maybe next year he'll have a 1.
Just keep climbing up the ladder, right? Yeah. Jay Borchell goes by, a national champ for Iowa Hawkeyes just a few years back, coaching for the Northwestern Wildcats out of Evanston, Illinois. Jeff Murphy's filling it out. He's going to be reading it to us soon.
Jeff, I am happy to report to you that we are at the 125. So all the
thank you, Billy.
The order of nature and the planetary alignments, everything has come back in balance.
Little karma.
Okay.
For Mr. Murphy.
We're going to 125, but we got to get to the All-Americans at heavyweight.
Yes,
that's right.
Just lead the witness here a little bit. We're going to the All-Americans at heavyweight.
No, we're going to go to the All-Americans at 197. We'll get this right by the time we're done.
Oh, that's so funny.
Hold a Steve-O.
So they're interviewing Anthony Nilsson right now.
Yeah, Tony, big boy. Big, powerful.
Nilsson is here. What do you want to tell him? Love you guys.
Yeah. Alrighty. So let's talk about the. Well, they're going to turn the lights off on me. I'm prepared this time, though. So let's talk about the All-Americans at 197 pounds. So in 8th place was Blake Rosholt from Oklahoma State University. In 7th place from Wyoming, Alfonso Hernandez. In 6th place from Iowa State University, Kyvan Gadsden. In 5th place was Scott Schiller from University of Minnesota. In 4th place was Taylor Meeks from Oregon State University. In 3rd place was Matt Wilps from Pittsburgh. In 2nd place was Dustin Kilgore from Kent State. And your national champion at 197 pounds, Quentin Wright from Penn State University.
Boy, he looked good.
He looked very good.
And guess who's passing out the trophies guy, the specimen?
Frank Santana?
Frank Santana. I love it when he calls me, hey Steve, this is Frank Santana. I said, yeah, who else has a voice like that? Hey, can I bring my cows to your ranch? Let them eat all your grass. How do you turn them down? I said, no, Frank, you can't bring the cows over. There you go.
All right, Quentin Wright.
Quentin Wright does it, guys. He takes down Dustin Kilgore in the finals in a very strategic way. He wins that match.
Nice way to end a career for Quentin Wright.
Yes, it is. It's good to see all the All-Americans down here. Frank Santana's the one down here on the right.
Yeah.
Well, he's been on national. He's been champ as a person and as an individual in wrestling, and then on some of those teams back when Iowa State won quite a few of these. He was on some of those national championships for the host team at Iowa State.
Speaking of Iowa State, we'd be remiss to not mention one more time. Kyvan Gadsden from Iowa State.
Yeah.
Becomes an All-American this year. And
big cheer for him.
Fulfills the end of the mission that he's been on this year. He fell a little short because he really wanted to finish as a national champion, but I tell you what, the Iowa State fans have got to be proud of that young man.
And you notice the big cheer. Everybody knows the Kyvan Gadsden story in here with his dad dying and him winning the Big 12 title, taking the medal to his dad, laying it on his chest, and a big story. And now we're going to set up a 125-pound match here. Jeff Murphy, what do you see?
Well, I see we're going to have 225-pounders out there. That's something I'm on top of now. Hey. So this is going to be a really exciting match because you've got Nico Megaludis from Penn State University. Megaludis in the finals for the second year in a row versus Jesse Delgado.
Yeah, Delgado's they've wrestled before, like you say, Jeff.
Yep. Yeah, they have, and I got to get all my homework put together here, Steve.
I know Megaludis won in a pin at the end, and then Delgado, Billy Baldwin pointed it out earlier, he was victorious in the semifinals at the Big Tens. Delgado was,
yep,
and
Delgado
he beat McDonough in the finals there, a big showdown there between Delgado and Matt McDonough, last year's national champion, three-time finalist for the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Yep. It seems like Megaludis just doesn't put pressure on himself. He just seems like he's loose as a goose. He's having fun. He's enjoying this. We'll see how the first 30 seconds go. But
yeah, you were mentioning how he's just kind of chillaxing there in the lobby of the motel earlier.
Yeah. Here we go.
All right, and we're off.
Delgado's got a phenomenal shot here that he ends up coming out the back door. It's reminiscent. And Mark Perry's spent a lot of time with his wrestler Delgado, who came from California with Mark Perry. Mark Perry was out there coaching for Cal Poly, and so he's a Cal Poly prep.
Ooh, arm throw.
Big, nice spin there.
Nice arm throw.
Nice spin there, and so many great wrestlers have come out of California. Guerrero, Abbas, the Schultz brothers, Terrapellis. I know I'm leaving out about 50 of them, but
Varner,
Jake the Snake,
Welch,
Jake Varner.
They're all coming
Jason
on
Welch.
because in the 60s and 70s, it was all the classic Ohio, Pennsylvania,
Yeah, it was.
Iowa, Oklahoma, and in the last 20 years or
California's
so,
done good.
they're doing the same thing with lacrosse right now. They're really, really excelling and coming on. They're going to start rivaling and competing with some of the great Northeastern schools in lacrosse. It's going to take a little time, but there's 37 million people in the state of California, so
Yeah,
they're going
it's a
to
numbers
catch
thing.
up pretty quick.
Yeah.
Megaludis in on a single leg. Delgado trying to fight him off. Megaludis grabs the single leg and the head. Delgado with the whizzer
Nice
in.
head control there by Megalunas.
Yep.
Might get the initial takedown,
Yep.
maybe. Good strategy here by Delgado, trying to bring this to a stalemate,
Yep.
maybe. This guy's kind of shoelace to shoelace here.
Yep.
Now Delgado's kind of coming around the corner here,
Looks like
trying to cradle.
Delgado may have
Got
a
the head
little
and the
bit of a
side,
grab, but Megaludis coming out between the
Got that
leg,
leg.
That's going to be a stalemate.
the leg over the head.
That's
Or
going to be a
potentially
stalemate.
Yeah, I think it's
dangerous,
going to be here
maybe.
pretty quickly. I don't think we're going to see.
Both of them are just holding on to the leg there. Yeah,
There we go.
Stalemate. Billy Baldwin called it.
So a minute and 22 seconds left in the first period. Both wrestlers go back to the center of the map.
Good job by both these guys. Nice scramble. Good shooting. You see that from the little guys a lot, you know.
Yeah.
So 1 minute, 17 seconds to go. Megalunas was the one that took the shot. Delgado's had a shot too, actually, off the start. Nice reach shot there, but nice kick out there by Delgado for the Fighting Illini of Illinois. So Illinois had a good team this year. They've done real good. I'm not sure how they stand in the team standing, but
Illinois is 10th place,
top
tied
10
with Iowa State right now for 10th place.
So the Cyclones and the Fighting Illini in on a shot again is Megalunas. Nice little. Delgado comes around the corner here. Wow.
Boy,
good reactionary by Delgado.
That kid is so cat quick. It's just
It's
amazing.
interesting. You never get a chance to go from heavyweight to 125 to see the cat-like explosive reactions and quickness coming off that heavyweight mat. And those heavyweights were not tortoises either.
Yeah.
No,
but to see the difference when those matches are back-to-back, you don't get a chance to see that very often.
It is neat, really.
It really highlights. In the low weight you get the quickness with less strength, and in the upper weight you have the strength without the quickness.
Yeah, so true.
You get it 41, 49.
Yep. Get some power and strength, speed.
You get the combination.
Kind of get a combo.
You get the combination.
Sure do. Yep. We've coined it as like two cats on a hot tin roof.
Yeah.
These little 125-pounders, they really go after him. Here we go. Fresh start. Both of them really active.
Good first
nobody's
period.
stalling there. Everybody's
No.
keeping busy, and
They're having at it.
they're really having fun, real workmanlike. And Megalunas, is that right? Or no, Delgado takes down, I believe, or not?
This was a great weight. I tell you, McDonough wasn't an All-American. This kid Garrett from Cornell was very tough. Sprinkle from North Dakota looked great in this tournament. Yeah.
Thorne.
Just a
really
tough
weight.
weight.
It's nice to see Wyoming Cowboys get an All-American here, Cox, for the Wyoming. Their program's building too out there in around the Rocky Mountains. Had another, Alfonso Hernandez, I think, was another All-American for Wyoming this year as well.
Walters loses to Megalunas in the semis and comes back in the wrestlebacks, and he loses to Garrett from Cornell for third and fourth as well.
Is that crazy?
And when Garrett beat McDonough, he got two late in the match, right on the edge of the mat. It was very dramatic.
Yes, it was.
To knock McDonough out. And then McDonough wilted in the wrestlebacks.
It was. It's interesting because there's a lot of seniors at this weight. But a lot of those seniors at this weight didn't make All-America status this year. The young guys all kind of come in and took over.
The young and hungry showed up, and they're feasting on the trophies right now in the award stand. Minute 6 seconds go in the second period. It's 13 seconds riding time in favor of Megalunas.
A lot of hand fighting. Both wrestlers on their knees right at the edge of the mat.
They're busy.
You just know something explosive is going to happen any second now. And Megalunas says, I don't want to play out here. I'm going to come back to the center, and he does.
Real low. Both wrestlers are wrestling real low. And, Mark Perry's coaching for Illinois. He coached at Penn State for a while.
That's
he was
interesting.
A Penn State coach.
It's really interesting to see Delgado circle in like he started to, because Delgado's really wrestled that edge well too. That's how he beat McDonough so many times. He'd get over near that edge, get his knees right on the circle like he is now, and then he'd go for the takedown.
He just got dinged for a warning with that strategy.
Coach Heffernan's the head coach there at Illinois.
Yeah, Jim Heffernan,
That's a nice assistant coach.
Wynn Mihalik's there too, Central Michigan, Chippewa.
I'm very impressed with what they're doing there.
They are. They've had a solid team this year. Yeah, the Fighting Illini are just that. They're fighting, boy. They've had some real good wrestlers this way. Conrad Pulse was good for them this year.
I watched Heffernan wrestle in college.
Jimmy Heffernan and the Tim Krieger showdowns. The Tim Krieger and Jim Heffernan matches are some of the greatest matches ever wrestled. They were some knockdown dragouts. Tim Krieger. So Pain Inflictor, I think, was Krieger's nickname. The Iowa State fans used to call him the Pain Inflictor.
All right, so Delgado a little slow getting on top here.
Megalunas is out.
There you go.
In 5 seconds.
1-1. A lot of speed. There's just so much reaction going on out there that.
Megalunas in on an ankle, but
he's in deep
Delgado dives over and grabs his ankle.
Going into a gator roll here, kind of shoelace to shoelace.
Now we'll see who gets out and gets his head up.
Yep. Caleb
Megaludis is not in a good position right now.
Delgado's with his head up.
Got to keep high. Got to keep your head high.
Hold on,
No, that's not going to be two. He's got the leg
he's got
caught
the leg
underneath
caught.
like that. I don't think he's going to give him two.
Delgado's got to settle
You
in.
better hold on to that because he's trying to lock up a cradle.
He's got him cradled up, and he's counting. Yeah,
Counting.
he's counting. He cradled him up, and
Got them all cradled up,
he got
guys.
the takedown and the back points.
This is the toughness, and he's under the arm, which is kind of unusual. Cradle,
being
under the arm.
So that's going to make it a 6-1 match.
He's going to sit here for the rest of this match.
Eating up time and picking up points. So he's got the 3-point near fall. So he's tough. We saw this toughness all year, didn't we, with Delgado?
And that's just Delgado's. What a great ride. Let's just hang on to the cradle and burn time. 48 seconds left in this match. Megaludis gets out. He says, "Come back and wrestle me now."
Yeah, good job by Megaludis keeping this busy.
Yeah. All right.
39 seconds.
6-2. 39 seconds left.
Delgado's got to play it smart, though. He can't just back up.
Referee dinged him once already.
He has been warned.
So
he has been warned,
but he can get a lot of points
with a 4-point lead. He can back up all he wants right
exactly.
now.
Megaludis in on an ankle.
Watch
grabs the head
cradle.
himself.
He's going
trying
for
to
the
cradle him up.
cradle.
He gets the 2. All right. So then he immediately releases him.
6-4. 15 seconds to go. No riding time.
7-4. 7-4.
Yeah, 7-4. Pardon me.
Oh, Megaludis tries to jump
like
over.
a flying squirrel there.
Yeah. That was good, wasn't it?
Well, because Delgado hanging right on the edge, and there it is, 3-2-1, and that's the end of it. So Delgado, national champion.
Jesse Delgado's your champ, so he's got to come back out and shake the hand. So, Fighting Illini up there in the corner, the blue and the orange.
Yep, that moves Illinois into 9th place. They overtake Virginia Tech.
Delgado's just so tough. He's so strong. We've seen the mental toughness. And
Megaludis is running off the mat into the tunnel right now,
runner-up.
covering his face. You could tell he's
tough.
He's
times.
Angry with himself.
Yeah,
it's tough. It's tough
well,
to get out of there.
He was in there all the way to the bitter end, and then it just didn't quite work out for him with that cradle.
Yeah, that cradle, Delgado's just so
funny because he shot in
physical.
deep, and it was in deep in the crotch on a single. It was around and Delgado the whole match was doing some very impressive countering off that single. He got deep a couple times and would cut around and grab onto an ankle and
we didn't see
was able to counter it.
We didn't see the power double that Delgado got McDonough with, and so many wrestlers over the year. I think Cody Sanderson probably did a real good job getting Megaludis ready and said, "Hey, guess what? He's got a real good power double. Let's not fall into that."
Well, that's just it. I mean, where they've seen each other before. So, hey, we're going to see an Olympic gold medalist give out the medals right here, folks.
Iowa State Cyclones, Jake the Snake.
Yep, Jake Varner.
You ready for this?
Olympic gold medalist.
4-time finalist, 2-time champ at this tournament, guys. There's only a handful of guys that's ever done that. Jake Varner with that crow. We used to call it his half Nelson, the crowbar, the Jake Varner crowbar. His power half was, is brutal.
All right, so I think there's an interview going to happen here in a second, and then we're going to announce the All-Americans.
Big win there for Jesse Delgado. We've had him on Takedown Radio a number of times. He's a real good interview, friendly kid. I mean, he's just real good. We've actually had him in their studio.
Yeah.
The whole team. Remember when the Fighting Illini, Jeff Murphy, came to the Takedown Radio studio?
Yeah, I was not there that day. I was in Dubai that day.
That's right. You were over in Dubai.
I was on assignment checking out the wrestlers from Dubai.
Yes, you were, man.
And then you went to Davos and on to
with the tallest building in the world.
Yeah, I did go to the tallest building in the world.
Yeah, I remember that. That kind of sounded like where your interview was coming from. Were you Skype interviewing us?
I was. It was really a lousy connection, too, wasn't it?
Oh, it was fun. Scotty Too Hottie and I were having fun with it anyway.
So. All right, so let's talk about our All-Americans at heavyweight.
Going to go with an Iowa State, the host team, maybe the first guy you mentioned?
Well, let's see. I guess I could do that. How about in 8th place, Matt Gibson, the senior from Iowa State University.
All 6'5" of them.
Yep. In 7th place, Odie Delaney from the Citadel, one of 2 All-Americans from the Citadel this year. In 6th place, we've got Gerard Trice.
The Pillsbury Doughboy.
That's right. Dancing with the Stars Trice. We're trying to lobby to get him a spot on Dancing with the Stars.
See that kid's foot sweep?
Yep, absolutely.
He looks like a field goal kicker.
That's right.
He did it once in a man. He missed by 5 feet, and I yelled out, "It's good!"
He's a keeper. He's fun. He's very colorful too.
Yeah.
Trice is.
Yep. In 5th place, Zach Thomasette. In 4th place, Dom Bradley from the University of Missouri. In 3rd place, Alan Galagaya from Oklahoma State University. In 2nd place, Mike McMullen from Northwestern, up 1 spot from last year. And your 2-time national champion at 285-pound heavyweight class, Tony Nelson from the University of Minnesota.
You know, Trice, he actually is called the Pillsbury Doughboy, and he won the Midlands a couple years ago wearing the Pillsbury Doughboy singlet, and boy, was that colorful. He was waving to the crowd. It was really pretty interesting. He's got this big old Pillsbury Doughboy thing on there. He says, well, look at my face and look at my body. He said, you know, what else would I put on my singlet? But he's a good interview. You know, we've interviewed him on the radio. He's actually just having fun. Some people don't like him because they don't like for people to really maybe work the crowd, but he's having a good time. He doesn't mean any harm from it.
All right, and Tony Nelson with his...
There you go, the champ.
Yep, with his trophy and his chart.
Capital C-H-A-M-P, champ. There he is. Out of the great state of Minnesota. The campus is right there in Minneapolis, by the way. We've been up there for duels before.
You know, Matt Gibson's on the lowest rung of the
he's about as tall.
stand.
Yeah.
He's about as tall as the guy on the second.
Yeah, 6'5". He's real tall, so yeah, Matt Gibson.
Absolutely.
How many points did Illinois just pick up just now?
Illinois picked up 4 points, and so that moved him up to
so now they're
9th place.
8th place. They're ahead of Ohio State. Iowa State. They're behind Ohio State, I guess.
Yep.
They picked up that many points. Again, when you get past the perennial powerhouses and you get into Missouri, Oregon State, Illinois, Northwestern, Edinburgh, it's nice to see those guys up in and around the top 10.
Yeah, and you know, we were talking this morning. Of course, Steve and I are a little partisan because, you know, we go to all the Iowa State
home duels,
years.
don't we?
Well, that impresses me too. But they're a perennial powerhouse that just is falling on hard times, and to see them back in the top 10 is great. I'm so proud of Kevin Jackson.
Yeah, they're building. They're building. Their
future's done a fine job. But you're exactly right. I'll tell you 2 schools we talked about this morning that I've really been proud of in the last couple of years too. Is Jimmy Zaleski in Oregon State and Kevin Dresser at Virginia Tech. I mean, because those guys have built those programs from, I mean, Virginia Tech was just a mess after Tom Brands left and, you know, took the Iowa boys back to Iowa with him. And
Kevin Dresser from Humboldt, Iowa.
Done a great job with
Jimmy Zaleski from Cedar Rapids Prairie. 3-time national champ and won, 97 matches in a row, I think, in college. And then none other than Troy Steiner. The Steiner brothers were 2 of the toughest top riders, guys that ever got on the mat. Terry Steiner and Troy Steiner, and they were both Hawkeyes. And they really got the Beavers coming back out there. A lot of fan interest out there, too. Good-looking Scott Sakaguchi. They had Mangrum this year. Chad Hinkie coming in after Clayton Lumberjack retired, and then trying to think, Taylor Meeks was their other real good 197-pounder. Taylor Meeks doing good, and I believe, Jeff, you told me he's just a sophomore for Oregon State, so he'll be back.
He's just a sophomore, so he will be back.
Taylor Meeks, tough kid. He's made a lot of noise this year for the Beavers. I know him and Gadsden were wrapped up in a 3rd place tight match there at the Midlands. Midlands is so fun. It's like a middle of the year nationals, you know. You get kids from the East Coast. You always get Lehigh and a lot of the East Coast teams coming to the Midlands. And it's just that. It's in the middle, so that's what's so fun about it. You get the West, the Midwest, and the East Coasters.
I tell you what I'd like to do next year, because they've separated the 2 dates out now. I'd love to go to the Midlands and then for a couple days, and then go to the Scuffle for a couple days. You talk about 4 days of fun wrestling. That would just be awesome.
Scuffle has really come a long ways down there in Chattanooga. And the coach down there doing a good job selling out their duels, selling out the Scuffle.
That's just it. When we were talking to the coach, what's the coach down at Chattanooga now?
I'll think of it.
Yep.
I thought of Scott Casper's roommate.
We were visiting with him the other day.
I'll get this one too. It just takes my hard drive a little time. Gotta grab it as it goes by, don't you, Billy?
It's out there somewhere. I just got to think about it.
Around.
But he talked to us the other day, and
Esslinger.
yes.
So you might have vaulted up in your sleep and shouted that out at about 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Glad you did that while
and
we're still.
And my wife, I'm happily married 32 years. My wife, Swahili Janelli's going to go, who in the heck's Esslinger?
Yeah, well,
Glad to remember during the broadcast.
he told us 2 weeks ago that, they've got a couple other schools have now committed to come to the Scuffle next year, and he wouldn't elaborate much more on that, but that could be interesting because I tell you what, they just keep growing and growing and growing, and that might be.
And those two tournaments do compete with each other, but there's a lot of pageantry in history with the Midlands. That's why it'll never go far. It's not going to go away. It's just got too much going for it. But competition's good for everything. And you know what? When you go to either one of those, they're full. The Coliseums or Welsh Ryan Arena. I'll tell you what, you look up at Welsh Ryan Arena and the thing's packed for the Midlands finals, and it's fun. Ken Kraft, Midlands, by the way. Mr. Ken Kraft actually invented that baby. Appreciate him doing what he's done.
So what are we doing? Having a little bit of a
TV
time out here, I guess.
Yeah, commercial time. So we'll do our own. We could talk about Kimmin.
Yeah. Hey, I'd be remiss if I didn't say, especially while he's still in earshot, that we've just had a great time over the last 2.5 days working with Caleb Nemmers.
Yeah,
he's good. We don't get a chance to see Caleb as much as we used to because he's out there on the East Coast, but I'll tell you what, he just did a wonderful job broadcasting with us over the last couple of days. And
Caleb drove straight through from Boston, right, Caleb? That's how much he loves wrestling.
23 hours.
He said, Steve, he called me a couple times. He says, talk to me, brother.
Yeah.
I'm falling asleep. I'm in Indiana. Boston's a long ways from Des Moines.
I've actually done that 3 times, and that wasn't fun.
I think it's just around South Bend, Indiana, exit by Gary. He said, I better call Steve-O, and can you just talk to me for a while, Bob? I'm honking the horn with my forehead.
All right, another highly, highly anticipated match coming up here at 133 pounds.
Yeah, it's going to be great, guys.
Yeah.
Technician against the brawler. It's going to get noisy. There's a lot of hostile Hawkeye fans in the crowd.
So we're going to be announcing here pretty quickly because the smoke machine's filling us up over here.
We know what's coming when the smoke arrives, right?
That's right.
Just about right.
I don't want to hear it. Every time I do a movie, not for special effect, just to diffuse the light for the cinematographers so the close-ups look better on the actors, that stuff's pumping into the set all day.
Oh, my goodness. That'd be awful. Just awful.
And then the cinematographers is bringing, and they walk around with these paddles, like these giant ping pong paddles, and they waft it around because it gets too heavy. You could see it through the lens.
Yeah.
And they have to wait for it to dissipate, and then they roll the camera. You're breathing that stuff in all day.
Oh, that can't be good.
Here comes the Hawkeyes, guys.
Absolutely.
There'll be some noise for these Hawkeyes.
So at 133 pounds, we're going to see Logan Stieber, last year's national champion from Ohio State University, versus Tony Ramos from the University of Iowa.
Logan Stieber.
Here comes Stieber, won it as a freshman last year. One of the best technicians in the game, guys. Amazing technician. Here comes Tony Ramos.
It's going to be good. This is going to be good.
It'll be a barn burner, guys. Technician against the brawler.
Yeah.
Let's wait. Is the stare down starting?
Oh, it's starting
Ramos
already.
is staring right at him, buddy. That's his famous stare down. He won't take his eyes off of his opponent. Doesn't even look at the ref.
And Stieber won't even look at him.
Stieber's going, I'm just looking at the ref. I've been through this before.
I'm going to look everywhere else but at Ramos. And the ref's saying, hey, 1 minute, 1 minute. So Tony's got a long time to stare.
Boy, they're barn burners. These two guys, there's no love lost between these two.
They've got Yoda refereeing this match. So
yeah, Yoda. We've seen him.
Zen psychology type thing.
Yeah, Ramos doing the stare down here. That's what he's famous for. And Stieber says, that's fine. Guess what my record is against you? But you know what? That like Billy said, the odds of that happening constantly aren't always great. So
Yoda says, do or do not, no try.
Yeah, that's right. Good quotation there by Mr. Murphy.
All right, boy, this one's going to be fun. I tell you what, Logan Stieber, Tony Ramos came into the Big Ten tournament both undefeated on the season, wrestled each other in the finals. 3-1 in sudden victory for Stieber. We have Quentin right up behind us. He's
right at it.
Yep, they're going right after each other, guys. Collar tie.
All right. No time to waste here.
No. Either one of these guys tire either, you know. Ramos is a great motor. Like all Hawkeyes, their cardio is always phenomenal.
And again, Ramos is not going to mess around, I think, this match because, you know, he messed around the last time, and that wasn't his style, and he got the end, and he lost in a flurry.
Yeah, off of that whizzer and a little inside leg grab there, and then a thigh trip there by Stieber. Took Ramos down and won the Big Ten championship. So,
yes. Well, yeah, it's like, look, shoot. Even if he shoots early, and even if he counters you early, you got a lot of time to get back up and do it again. If you've only got one shot left in sudden victory and he counters you, you're just had.
Yeah, that's right, Jeff. And they dueled, the teams did, but in the duel, Stieber was injured and did not wrestle. Tony Ramos.
I think it's very interesting how sometimes your head coach is in your corner and sometimes he's not, and it's interesting to see Tommy Ryan not in his corner and Lou Roselli there. And I don't know if you saw that YouTube video last year of Tommy Ryan dancing in the tunnel and watching it on TV.
Yeah.
I don't know how many hits that had on YouTube, but to watch him dancing around back there, and when Stieber won, when he beat Jordan Oliver and he came running out of the tunnel to go,
there's a nice throw by there.
And a big double leg takes him down.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yep,
Ramos
technique.
Ramos up to his feet immediately, and they go out of bounds, but no change. So
he's a technician. He looks at wrestling kind of as like a scientific experiment. He's just out there doing what he needs to do.
So if you watch that video, of Tommy Ryan, it lasts probably about a minute and a half, but it really captures the essence and the spirit of what this sport is all about.
It's a very good observation.
How much the passion, how much people care, and how crazy people get. All their superstition.
Big jump out there by Ramos jumping in the air.
Feet, turns, jumps out of it, spins around, and immediately trying to take him down. Yep. Not going to mess around.
He says, I know you beat me, but I'm attacking you, buddy.
Yep.
So
2-1 in favor of Stieber. A minute left in this first period.
No love lost between these two. They've talked about each other before, and it's nothing totally disrespectful, but they
nice shrug.
Same shot. Same shot as the first one.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
Nice little throw by. Caught Ramos leaning into him.
Yeah, he just extended with the collar tie up. He just threw him by. He just shrugged
Almost
him.
Looked like Wright and Kilgore where, he's just pushing into him. And
he just shrugged him.
And the thing is now with Stieber with a 4-1 lead, he's really in the driver's seat because Ramos is just going to get more and more frustrated and
could take him off his game. Or you got to change your game plan when this stuff starts happening. So Ramos will be busy. Had some great matches. He
up to his feet trying to get out of things. Pushing a head down.
So
he's quick.
Collar tie, just kind of a claw right
he's
there.
Got a claw in here now.
Tight race claw, and there's Tom Ryan over here. He's watching. He's come out of the tunnel a little bit.
So he's sitting in the stands now, huh?
They're sitting together.
I think that's funny. Him and Tom are sitting together.
Tom and Tom are sitting next to each other. Brands and Ryan.
Sitting with Brands.
Yeah, I know. Right
with Brands.
Yeah, former roommates.
Somebody's got to get
college
a photograph
roommates.
Of that. Somebody's got to get a photograph of that.
That is pretty good.
Seriously,
the former college roommates.
Yeah.
Tommy Ryan and
Tom Brands next to each other,
side by side in the stands, watching their kids wrestle each other. Could you get that shot for me?
That is just wonderful. That is just wonderful.
They roommated in college, by the way.
Watch how Brands doesn't
he's on the big screen right now. They got her up on the big screen.
Look at this.
Brands is stoic and Ryan's just nervous as all get out.
He is doing the jitterbug. He can't sit still. He squirms. He does all the body English. He like wrestles the match.
He feels it.
Yeah.
He's feeling it.
He's out there wrestling it with him.
Escape guys for Stieber. Ready 5-1.
5-1.
Ramos
minute 46 seconds in the second period.
He's going to have to pick it up. Ramos is. He's going to have to pick it up. So the Iowa Hawkeye contingencies here. Ohio State Buckeyes.
Tommy Ryan is so entertaining to watch.
Oh, Ramos in on a single.
Ramos in on a shot.
Look at the two of them.
Can he finish it?
Oh, now they're both up.
Big somersault roll there by.
He gives no back points.
No points.
Tommy's going Wave the flag! Wave the flag!
He had Stieber. Now Brands is into
Oh,
it.
yeah, Brands is down on the carpet
He had
now.
Stieber on his back.
Now he's got
guys.
to back up because he can't be down there. And he goes, challenge that, challenge that.
They're going to challenge it. They're going to challenge it.
Up. And they got the green flag up.
They're saying challenge
That's
it.
interesting. I've never seen them continue wrestling, and now they're going to stop it for the challenge.
Hawkeye fans, they want it challenged
What's
as well.
funny is, so we
look
got
at Ryan and Brands.
We got our coaches on the stage, but we got our coaches on the sideline trying to go all the way up and giving instructions and
this does not lack
hollering and yelling
intensity.
and not making. And of course, that's not making Brands very happy. And now the guy's trying to interview him, and I don't think Brands is going to want. Yeah, that's a bad plan.
I won't recommend that. Is it team point?
Iowa can afford it.
So Tom
If
Brands
that's a
might
team
go
point.
down as a team point. They're saying.
You know what? You'd rather
wanting
have
it to
the
be
national championship. They're not in contention. Blow a team point.
That's probably good observation by you,
Right?
Billy,
I mean-
because it should be reviewed because he took Stieber right to his back.
Yeah,
With that reverse headlock.
Oh, this is worth
underhook.
review. This is worth review. I don't know if they're going to get it, but it's worth a review.
He had the headlock and he had the underhook and he had
See,
Stieber on
these
his
are the
back.
things that develop in the course of the tournament and the finals. Like to have Tommy Ryan and Brands sitting side by side, former roommates.
Yeah, they were collegiate
And
roommates.
these guys going at it here, this is just so awesome.
It's going to be tough, guys.
And we get Quint Kessenich from ESPN. He's not even near the mat. He's out in the stands with the two coaches trying to get sound bites.
Well,
Now,
and I tell you, a team point won't mean anything to Iowa at
that's
this
what
point
I'm saying,
because they're so far in between. There's no way that they could go up, and there's no way they can come down. They're just where they are.
Even if it meant going from 5th to 6th place, he
wouldn't
probably
care.
wouldn't care.
Technically, they can only review whether it was back points because a fall and a pin is not reviewable.
But it
Is
was
that right, Jeff?
interesting because they blew the whistle and they commenced action before the flag went up.
Yeah.
The Iowa guys were trying to get the Iowa coaches were trying to get the flag to go up, and the referee blew the whistle and the flag went up.
Time back. Probably can't.
I don't know, but the flag went up. But I've always seen them raise the flag before the wrestling recommenced.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
it was like
They
Tommy,
wrestled for like tied up.
Well, Tom's back here going, "Come on, you guys, go out and get the flag up." He's yelling at him to get the flag up, and
I will tell you that.
then Terry went over, and Terry about walked over and beat on the table over
now
there.
how's this do for momentum? Because I think Ramos was picking up the momentum here, and
Tommy Ryan can barely contain his composure right now. This is what I love about this
they're
sport.
Up and they're down, and of course the TV guys are trying to talk to him, but they really don't
the
care about
NCAA
the
floor
TV
officials
guys.
are trying to tell them that's not the TV guys. Those are the NCAA officials that is trying to control the floor.
No.
And I don't remember this gentleman's name. I'll point him out to you. Maybe you know him, but I saw him banging Tommy the other day, saying, "Tommy, if you come out of here one more time, I'm going to hit you with a team point."
Yeah.
And then Ryan ran back in the tunnel.
might be my buddy Corey Onen. He keeps track of that stuff. But here we go, 6-3.
This
They're
gentleman
reviewing
right
it.
here.
Yeah. That's not Corey.
He's official floor official, huh?
Yeah, he was banging him yesterday.
Yeah.
He keeps track of stuff. That's his job. Look at Ramos. He's pacing. Surprised he's not just staring, but he's pacing. He's ready. Ramos. You know what happened? It was so cat quick when he tossed Stieber to his back. It was just an
Well, they
underhook.
gotta watch this in real time because if you watch it in slow motion, it may look like back points. They gotta watch this in real time to make sure. You know what I mean?
Actually,
They
that's
can't
true.
Review that. They
That
can't
brings
review
out the
that.
accuracy of it.
Anything that slows anything down.
I
so
really
they-
thought it was back points.
That brings about the accuracy. Look at Ryan saying there isn't any Brands wanting the call. So Kurt Backus, the beast of the East, is out there coaching for the Iowa Hawkeyes, a former Iowa State
Well,
finalist. Hawk fans are hostile.
Must be no back points because the Iowa fans are moaning and groaning. All right, so we'll get them started again. So reset this thing. 52 seconds left in the second period, and it's 6-3 in favor of Stieber.
Ramos in on a leg, Stieber in on a leg. Both a shot by Ramos and a reshot by Logan Stieber. Ohio State Buckeyes, Iowa Hawkeyes, Big Ten foes here, guys.
Yep.
These two schools have battled each other in many sports across the line for many, many decades.
So Ramos has got to go. He's down by 3 points, and
Stieber does a good job keeping his legs and feet back, making those targets hard to reach.
yep.
You want to get those leg shots in, and a little attempt there by Ramos. He's going to push and shove. He's got a motor. He likes the high-paced
That's the end of the period. So
Ramos gets down. Guess what, guys?
6-3.
If he gets the escape, he'll be within striking distance. How about the riding time, though?
He needs to escape quickly because there's 45 seconds of riding time for Stieber.
It was a quick start.
Yeah, it was a very quick start.
Almost looked premature.
Well, it was to me. I wasn't ready to look for it.
Ramos almost out.
Yeah.
Stieber tried to climb up and maybe body lock him.
There's the riding time. So now they need to go.
Ramos has to get the legs.
He's
get
got
the hands.
Got to get the hands for. There he goes.
Yep.
Stieber lets him go. So a minute and 33 seconds left in this match.
6-4.
Minute and 10 seconds of riding time for Stieber. So Ramos takes him down. He doesn't have to ride him very long to eliminate the riding time.
Good point, too. Good observation by you, Jeff Murphy. Collar tie. Stieber just really keeping his legs and his feet out of reach here from Ramos.
A lot of time.
Tony, what was interesting, he didn't just go for that takedown, but he tossed Stieber on his back.
Yeah.
Good reactionary time there by Stieber. Remember, Stieber finished with the controversial call last year against Jordan Oliver.
Absolutely.
In this situation.
I like Stieber being on the offensive here. He's not backing up. He's not slowing. He just dropped into a nice, he extended himself a little bit, but he dropped into a nice double leg just there.
Yes, sir, Billy. You said the best defense is offense.
Yep.
You got to keep your motor going. You got to take those shots, even if they're half shots. Collar tie.
The Iowa crowd's starting to get surly on this whole thing.
Yeah.
30 seconds left in the match.
Shots there by Ramos.
Ramos in on an ankle.
There's Ramos in on a leg.
Can he suck it up?
He's got to cut the corner.
Tight. He's pulling in tight. Stieber's got a whizzer in, but Ramos got a leg
riding
behind.
time. He's going to have to get it soon to get rid of the riding time.
17 seconds. He's got to go. 15 seconds. He's not going to get the riding time. He may get the point, but he's not going to get the riding time off. Ramos still in on the leg, but he's got him in kind of a cow catcher on his feet. He's trying to. Oh, that's the end of the match.
Wow.
It was a good match, though. What a good match.
Huge. Logan Stieber. What a great technician.
Yeah, I tell you what, you can't fault Tony Ramos in that. He really wrestled a good match.
Ramos is a gamer.
It was a good match by both wrestlers.
Ramos, tough kid. He's a gamer, so.
Now we got to have all the print guys all race off to do an interview here.
Yeah.
Terry Brands is letting the officials have it coming off the stage here.
Yeah, he's going to give him his point of view. So.
Yeah. Not happy about things. Yeah. Not happy now. He's
talking to the Penn State
fans. He just went like this and waved. He waved his hand at them. I mean, I don't understand that.
Then he came out of the tunnel to talk to them again.
I don't understand that. I mean, they're the three-time national champions. Just put your head down and get in the tunnel.
Yeah.
What are you waving your hand at him for?
Yeah.
And then they say take a hike, Brands, and he comes back out and starts
saying something. Yeah. It's intense, guys.
Yeah.
I know, but I just,
Well, emotions.
Here's Steve.
I know.
Cal Sanderson, you'd never see him do something like that.
Never. No.
Okay? That's what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Ever since the kid that wrestled Darian Caldwell.
Yeah, Metcalf.
When Metcalf had that incident in the finals a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And now you have McDonough throwing his second place medal in the trash.
Yeah.
You get a coach waving at the crowd.
He got Mark Perry in the day throwing his wrestling shoes in a garbage can.
Yeah,
he
did. Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's a history there.
McDonough with the medal going to the garbage.
All right, so let's talk about our 125-pound All-Americans.
125?
Yes, I'm in the right weight class. So, in 8th place from Wyoming, Tyler Cox. In 7th place from the University of Minnesota, David Thorne. In 6th place from Virginia Tech,
Hokies,
Garnett. Gerard Garnett. In 5th place from North Dakota State University, Trent Sprinkle. In 4th place from the University of Missouri, Alan Waters. In 3rd place from Cornell University, Nishan Garrett. In 2nd place from Penn State University, Nico Megaludis. and your national champion at 125 pounds, Jesse Delgado from the University of Illinois.
There's the orange and blue up there in the corner for Illinois. That program's going a long ways there with Coach Jim Heffernan and Mark Perry, Wynn Mihalik, doing a good job. I wouldn't be surprised to see Mihalik on the Olympic team, maybe.
Ohio State just leapfrogged Missouri for 6th place, by the way.
Okay.
So,
Missouri Tigers.
you know, this is probably well, let's wait. So we're going to go to 141 pounds.
Yes, Speed. Mr. Speed, Mr. Maple. Kendrick Maple gets Port. So this could be fun, guys. Gonna have Edinburgh against Oklahoma.
Yeah, that'll be a great match.
Yes. Traditional school against one of those really good East Coast, Northeast teams, Edinburgh. Doing a good job, the Fighting Scots.
By the way, for as much as I said Megaludis was all cool, calm, and collected, I chose Delgado. And the only one who's spoiling my finals right now is Quentin Wright.
Yeah.
I don't know how many I got here, but let me see.
I gave up picking after Steve blew me away at Big Ten.
Yeah, well, I get an advantage. Well, you follow them too, but I got media passes right now at home. You know how many tournaments I go to? My wife said I could side her house. Okay, yeah, I could shingle my roof with these things. So yeah, Scott and I hop in his big stretch Mercedes-Benz and we take off, guys. That Mercedes-Benz gets a lot of miles on it. So, man, Mr. Speed against Port, Mitchell Port.
Now I got to tell you, I was really impressed with Port. He's had a good tournament.
Yeah, he has. You know, 13-5, 7-6 win over Hunter Stieber, the last national champion's brother. He defeated the Hunter Stieber, which was the #1 seed, 7-6. A 13-5 major, 13-2 major, and a 5-2 win in his first match. And he's the #4 seed for Edinburgh. Edinburgh's produced so many good wrestlers over the years, and a lot of little guys.
Well, Tim Flynn is.
Tim Flynn, yeah.
My best friend was the captain of Penn State Wrestling back in the 80s with Flinney.
He's a legend.
And to see all this going so well for Flinney and for Bruce Baumgartner, I love it. Couldn't happen to two nicer guys and more talented guys, by the way.
He's a legend. Tim Flynn's Tim Flynn's a legend. So Kendrick Maple, though, talk about him a little bit. I don't believe he's lost yet this year.
Yeah, that's just it. Kendrick Maple, 25-0 on the season. He's a junior. He had an outstanding year last year as well.
32, 33 maybe, you know.
Yep. Kendrick, yeah, well, he's 31-0 coming in the tournament. I'm sorry, yeah, exactly. So whatever else he's won since then. You know, he was 4th last year in this tournament. Probably finished a little lower than maybe I would have thought last year.
Right. He got the Midlands OW last year, I remember, in a real tough Midlands championship. He won that and got the OW.
Yep, Mitchell Port, he's 30-3 this year. He lost to Hunter Stieber 12-7. He lost to Mike Mangrum from Ohio State 7-5. And he's lost to Kendrick Maple this year in a 14-11 match.
So Maple has defeated them before. He's wrestled Port, and they're both wearing white.
Yeah, red, white with red lettering. So this will be
and some black.
This will be fun.
Similar color of singlets here between these two. 2:43 to go out of bounds. 2:43 in the first period, and Port will be red on the scoreboard, and Kendrick Maple will be in the green anklet. So collar tie between these two. Maple's real tough. He's fast. And Oklahoma gets Travis Rutt next year and Andrew Howe coming back out on the team. So they're going to be tough. The Sooners are reloading.
Very interesting,
strategy. And
well, no, just Mark Cody. And the decision to hire him as head coach, he's a terrific man, a terrific coach. He comes over from American to lead the Sooners, and it's going to be very interesting to see how things develop for them. I think they're going to be right back in the mix, just like Iowa State's back. I think they're going to be right back in the mix very quickly.
Absolutely, because with Maple on that squad, with Andrew Howe, Travis Rutt, you got The Lester brothers.
Yeah, both Lesters.
You know, you're going to have a really good team.
They got a good heavyweight coming out too. That J. Carl Guyman told
you guys know my alma mater is Binghamton University.
Yes.
Mark Cody went to high school in Binghamton. He went
really?
to Binghamton North High School.
It's one of my favorite
and then
people.
He sent Papalizio over to Binghamton because Papalizio was his assistant at American, and we were looking for a coach. His recommendation to our athletic director led to Papalizio being hired.
Good information there, Billy Baldwin, and I'll tell you, he's a classy guy.
We talk about the Gable coaching tree. Cody's got a couple guys out there, some former assistants that are now out there coaching. Of course, it's not like the Gable coaching tree, but
he's a classy individual.
He's making a nice imprint on the sport of wrestling for sure.
Yeah, he is. He's just so classy. There he is up on the screen right now. There's your friend.
Yeah.
Yep, Maple gets the takedown, so he now leads 2-0, 1:37 to go. In the first period, 36 seconds of riding time for Maple. And it's going to be hard for Port, I think, to match the speed and quickness. His reactionary time to Maple is just split second. Maple's reactionary time. He's so quick on his feet. I've seen so many people go for his legs or his ankles, and boy, before you know it, it's gone. Your target's been removed, and he's up behind you, and you're getting face planted. So haven't seen speed like this since, I think, Nate Gallick and Tion Ware used to lock it up. Remember how quick they were, Jeff Murphy?
Oh, absolutely.
Gallick and Ware were just
Do you know where Tion is
quick.
now?
Leon.
You know where Tion is now?
He was at Penn State for a number of years.
He's the head assistant coach at Binghamton University.
There you go.
Good
All
hire.
right.
Here we go.
Good hire.
Very good
Tion
hire.
Ware, man.
Yeah.
One of the quickest guys to ever get on the mat. And him and Gallick from Iowa State, boy, they had... When Iowa State's Gallick and him locked up, it was hard to do play-by-play.
Those were the most
so quick.
boring matches on the face of the earth, though, because there'd be nothing, and then there'd just be this immense flurry.
Well, no scoring.
Yeah,
but there's tons of speedy
But the thing
stuff
was
going
is
on.
that they would cat and mouse each other the whole match, and then some big flurry. And
Port gets the escape. It's 2-1. 39 seconds to go in the first period. 1 minute and 28 seconds of riding time picked up there for the Sooner of Oklahoma. Head control there. There's a big underhook, and switching off to a ankle pick was Maple on Port. Mitchell Port for the Edinburgh team. Tim Flynn in the corner there and doing a good job for Edinburgh.
you know, Steve, I think that, and Billy, I think that this has been quite an entertaining finals. You know, some years, sometimes your matchups are so close at the end, they're just really feeling each other out. There's been a lot of action this
Yeah,
final.
there has been a lot of action, so yeah, it's been fun. It's been good to be around this whole tournament. I don't know how many matches we've called, but it's been a few.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you what.
I've done thousands over the season, I can tell you that much.
I think that the NCAA ought to seriously consider having it in Des Moines every year, because I could go home and sleep in my own bed every night. That's not
there you go. Yeah, hasn't that been nice? We travel so much.
You know,
it's
we were
nice
concerned
to be able to do
about
so.
the availability of tickets because this venue is 3,000 or 4,000 smaller
lesser,
than
most.
St. Louis and stuff. But you know, there's not like a huge demand outside where there's people like swirling around trying to scalp tickets.
A lot of people knew that it was full. But
Well, you know, the thing was, everybody
correct.
worried about tickets up until about a week before, and now you look out on the different message boards.
And there's some available.
There's a pile of
there
tickets
is.
out there. So
they are available. So yeah,
This place is full.
it is.
it
Billy.
is chock full.
Board on
The only
top.
place where it hurt was the allocations to the universities. Like Binghamton usually got 60 or 70, and this year we got 35.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah,
So that,
right. Yep,
you know,
that was a
we had
complaint.
more alumni that would have liked to have come, but the
Sure.
tickets just weren't available.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, in the state of Iowa, I can guarantee you, I've talked to the Mayor Preston Daniels about it back in the day. They could have built this 25, 30,000 people, and it would have filled up, guys.
Yeah.
It would have. No, I'm
Oh,
serious.
yeah.
It would have.
Well, quite honestly, if the auditorium would hold it,
Well, if you can
this would be a good place to hold this tournament. You know, a lot of people a little
in
bit
the
worried
middle.
about hotels and what have you,
St.
but
Louis does a nice job too.
St. Louis does a wonderful job.
It's hard to compete against St.
Well,
Louis.
and quite honestly, I'll tell you what, Oklahoma City's going to do a really good job next year, too.
Bricktown's fun.
That's,
Maple goes out of bounds. 3-1's his lead. Minute 13 seconds to go in the second period. 55 seconds of riding time for Maple.
Yep. By the way, I know where the Cyclone Wrestling Club's going to stay next year, so.
Oh, nice.
I'm
Help me out.
inside
Well,
poop.
Scott, it's either you or Scotty Tuhati is my contact. So If I can get a room, sometimes that's my only pay.
It's close.
We're
close. So.
My wife's band is playing in Shawnee next weekend, and I invited Leroy and John and Eric Guerrero and Coach Cody, and they're all coming.
Oh, that's
How
great.
fun's that
They're
going
all
to be?
to see my wife's band
That's
play
wonderful.
at the Performance Arts Center in Shawnee. I think Friday or Saturday.
That's fantastic. Good
So
job.
I'm gonna host, some legends of USA wrestling.
You will.
Yep.
That'll be fun.
Absolutely.
Good job. Keep them active, Billy. Keep them involved.
3-1.
They might need a little reprieve and vacation anyway. These
I
seasons
thought Leroy
could take
might
it out
come,
of
but I
you.
didn't know if John would come so close out. He goes, no, we'll wrap it up at Nationals. I'm going to take a couple
There
days
you
to
go.
relax, and I'll pop out to see. Because I think from Stillwater to Shawnee's about an hour, so it's not they're not going that far.
Not bad, not at all. 3-1.
That's
Maple
great.
still up. 55 seconds of riding time. 22 seconds go. Actually 18 now in the second period here between the Sooner and the Fighting Scott.
Interesting that Oklahoma, very unusual, I think, that Oklahoma hires Jack Spates, a Long Islander, to be their head coach.
Yeah.
And then he's followed by Mark Cody
Binghamton.
from Binghamton, New York. They got two New Yorkers
Yeah.
that have been at the helm of that program for quite
Right.
a few. I mean, Mark Cody's only in his second year. I don't know how many years Jack was there. It had to be a decade, right?
It was a long time.
Yeah, it was a
He
long
followed
time.
up after Chesbro. Tommy Chesbro was the coach there for years too. Chesbro was. So yeah, he did. Yep. Sports parents
So,
up on the screen.
2 minutes to go in this match.
3-1.
And Port starts on the bottom for the third period.
Maple on top from Oklahoma. And,
Maple just
there's
over
your
a minute of
riding
riding time right now. So Port's got to get away and take him down and tie it all up.
Yeah, he does. He's going to have to be busy. And Maple needs to bring Port down here, and he does right there. He could get called for a stall there. It's your responsibility as a wrestler in the back to try to get that. Try to take your opponent back down to the mat. Minute 31 seconds to go.
Yep.
Just kind of hip-to-hip follow
Maple got that
for
first.
Maple.
Maple got that first takedown, and then he's been pretty content just to, kind of wrestle. I mean,
Yeah, right.
Not
Yeah.
really trying to do any kind of offensive move that's going to get him in
Nothing
trouble.
risky. Playing it safe.
No.
1:25 to go.
Wow, he threw a really hard on
Neither
starting
one of these have been national champs before. Neither one of the wrestlers have. So there's
All
a
right.
good picture of Mitchell Port.
So Maple
Up there on
on
the
top.
screen.
Referee blows his whistle. We'll get started here. Minute 24 seconds left.
Tripod stance again by Port, but he just doesn't get anything done out of that. He gets up to his feet again, but
Maple takes him back down.
needs to break him down. Stall from Maple. Yeah, he needs to break him down. Hey, am I wired to the ref or what?
Yeah, well, that's a good call, but a little late in the process, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be because he's just not breaking them down. So, what should I call next? A point?
Yeah. Call a massive flurry of activities.
There you go.
That'd be great.
If I see it coming, I'll let you know.
So
Right now, boy,
Port's
there it
trying to
is.
Stand
Now,
up. Now, I tell you what.
Maple's in trouble in that
Maple brought him
situation.
down, but
Yeah,
Maple brought him down again.
that's the way the rules are. He's
Port
got to
keeps
keep his
standing up.
opponent broke down to the mat, or he could get hit again and
53 seconds left.
make it more interesting. He's got 2:02 of riding time, so mathematically that can't be erased. So does he cut him? I think I might do an intentional release maybe if I was Maple. That'd be my strategy, but we'll see what he
Yeah,
does.
that's what he's gonna do.
Yep, that's smart. That's a good job.
All right, 3-1.
But
still.
You're wired to him and his coaches.
3-2, yeah.
The ref, the
I've
coaches.
called 10,000 wrestling matches this year, Billy Baldwin.
3-2 now, so if Port can get the takedown, he can tie this thing up. Then he's got to ride.
Oh,
Maple.
there's that speed.
Boy, that was
Yep.
nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nothing
Coming
yet,
around the
though.
corner.
That
Got
was-
to bring Port down. Port doing a good job keeping it up to his feet as
Yeah.
long as he doesn't tripod out.
Port turns into
Look at
him,
this.
and he gets out of it, so it's still
Nice
3-2.
job by
then
Mitchell
he kind of
Port.
gives Maple a little shove at the end there.
I wasn't really bragging. It's just I'm not that smart. I just call so many matches. You kind of see what people probably are going to do next.
23 seconds left. Mark Cody's challenging something. I'm not sure what he's challenging. Of course, nobody likes that.
Yeah. Michael Leitner in the corner, too, for Mark Cody, by the way. One of the all-time 130-some pounder. You remember when Michael Leitner
Absolutely.
was lighting it up for the
Just a great
Leitner lighting
wrestler.
it up for
So
the Oklahoma Sooners.
I'm not sure exactly what we're reviewing right now, other than the fact that the review's taking a little time and maybe Maple was breathing a little hard. I don't know.
I don't know what the situation is there, but another coach on the Oklahoma staff, you ready? An Olympian, Jared Ferrer.
Yep.
Olympian, one of my favorites to watch. Ferrer's just had a real entertaining style, and it's his alma mater. Like Leitner, they bring in Mark Cody from American, or Binghamton initially, like Billy said, through ways of American, and then he brings in two alumni, Michael Leitner and Jared Ferrer. Smart job, and a good strategy there by Mark Cody on the coaching staff.
So we've got 15 seconds left in the match. Both wrestlers on their feet in the center.
Well, Port needs to take shots.
Got to get a takedown here. He's got 10 seconds left.
Remember, takedown only. Oh, there's a point, guys.
Yeah, but
there's your point.
There's only 3 seconds left in this match, though. I don't think Port can get her done in 3. He's going to try, but
did a Vince Lombardi. Never lost a match. Just ran out of time. So
yeah. So 3-3, but Maple has riding time, so it's a 4-3 victory. National championship for Kendrick Maple. I just got done talking about how much action there'd been, and then we got one that didn't have much action. So,
I was thinking that. Yeah, it got a little flat there, but I'm happy for Mark Cody.
Yeah, congratulations.
And for the program, for him to have a national champion. They're in a rebuilding phase, and
he had some great ones out there, American.
He sure did.
Josh Glenn, Musafar Abdurakhmanov, one of Jeff's favorite names.
Stop showing off.
Yeah. The brother of Bedzov Abdurakhmanov.
He practices those all week just so he can look good on
the
weekends.
cousin of Bodie Oginyaliwal and Param Zarenpour. No, that's not true, but those are wrestling names.
Jeez, Steve.
I go home and work on those.
We were having some fun last year on the broadcast with you trying to get some of these names. I was very impressed.
Yeah. Because traveling with Scott Casper, I get all year to work on them, guys. So it kind of helps, but Kendrick Maple, he has a strong faith too. I wouldn't be surprised if he acknowledges something like that. I've interviewed him, and his faith, spiritual faith, is very important to him. He talks about it openly. Boy, he's a lean, mean wrestling machine, isn't he?
And the lights
couldn't get skin off of him with a pair of pliers. So there we go,
Jeff. How many people are projected to watch this broadcast live on ESPN tonight?
Oh, boy, there's got to be a pile of them, doesn't there?
That's right, yeah. It's going to be great.
I just love that we're reaching as many people as possible. Radio, internet, television.
Watch it on ESPN, turn down your volume, and listen to Billy Baldwin.
There you go.
Better commentary here on Takedown Radio.
So let's talk about our All-Americans at 133 pounds. So in 8th place, we've got Nathan McCormick from the University of Missouri. In 7th place, we've got Cody Brewer from Oklahoma, the University of Oklahoma. In 6th place, we've got Chris Dardanes, one of the Dardanes brothers from the University of Minnesota. In 5th place, we've got Jonathan Morrison from Oklahoma State University. In 4th place, A.J. Schopp from Edinburgh. In 3rd place, Tyler Graff from the University of Wisconsin. In 2nd place, Tony Ramos from the University of Iowa. And in 1st place with your 133-pound champion, Logan Stieber, 2-time national champion from Ohio State University.
And the Iowa State alumni giving out the trophies. We've seen Jim Gibbons, Frank Santana. On this, we have Mike Landolf here. He went to my high school, guys, Valley High School, West Des Moines, my alma mater at the high school level. National champ, and then a national champ and Olympic gold medalist on the other side, Ben Peterson.
Ben Peterson.
Yeah, invented a move. We call it every once in a while. It's called the Peterson. So,
well, that's better than calling it something else, I suppose.
Yeah, two Iowa State greats. He wrestled for Dr. Harold Nichols.
149 pounds.
Here we go, guys. They're getting bigger. They're getting stronger.
Yep. Out of the red corner, Jordan Oliver from Oklahoma State University.
And out of the green corner, a senior from Boise State.
Jason Chamberlain.
Yeah, Jason Chamberlain out of the green.
I don't know much about him. I know a lot about. I've been trying to follow the Boise State program. Again, a great rebuilding. That's another Gable.
Yeah, Greg Randall.
Yeah, absolutely.
Greg
Everywhere they
Randall.
go, Oregon, Illinois, Boise.
The Broncos. Now, this won't be the first Boise State Bronco that Oliver's faced. Down 2 weights a couple years ago, he wrestled Mr. Andrew Hochstrasser, one of the few wrestlers that could keep up with Oliver. Had I think a 13 to 12, 11 to 10, and 10 to 8. I mean, when Hochstrasser from Boise State and Oliver locked up, it was fireworks. We'll see how Chamberlain does. Chamberlain doesn't open really up like Hochstrasser does, but he's hard to score on. Jason Chamberlain is for Boise State Bronco, and we all know how the greatness of Jordan Oliver. He's just tough.
Good, how you doing?
Yep. So
He's one of the greats.
Jason Chamberlain redshirted last year as a senior, something a little different. And he, 2 years ago, he was an All-American at 149 pounds. Let's see if I can find out. I got to do my homework here.
Came in highly ranked. Got to watch the Broncos a lot when the duels were wrestled up in the Unidome. And boy, they brought some great teams.
Yep.
They had Adam Hall and just a lot of great kids on those. The Schwartz brothers were good for Boise State. It's neat to see Oregon State, Boise State, that West Coast stuff picking up. It's great for wrestling. And when they what do they get? The duels for the pride of a hatchet?
I think it's an axe.
An axe. Yeah, the winner gets a golden or silver axe.
So Chamberlain 2 years ago as a junior, he finished third here at the NCAA tournament. He went 5-1 at the championships. He lost to Frank Molinaro of Penn State in the semifinals.
Frank the Tank.
Then he came back and beat Jamal Parks of Oklahoma State in the consolation semis, and Ganbayar Sanja from America in the third place bout.
It's our other favorite name, Sanja. I tell you what, Chamberlain's real strong, but Oliver's got reach advantage up with almost everybody. He's got those long arms, kind of hydroplanes off that tripod stance too. Chamberlain's got real strong legs for a 149-pounder.
Oliver did something that I don't know if I've ever seen anybody else do tonight, but before the All-Americans all paraded, he came out and he got out and he got up on the stage, walked around the mat, checked out the lay of the land.
Made sure that circle was just the right size.
Got down on his knees, looked around a little bit, and then he went off and back into the tunnel.
Said a little prayer, and now he comes.
There's a couple guys in this tournament that stand out as potential Olympic material, and I think this kid Oliver is one of them. He's got the great combination of strength and speed.
Yep.
His speed doesn't overwhelm his strength, or vice versa. He's a great technician.
Yes.
And he's just an animal internally too, and it makes you wonder, this guy probably, is he going to be able to scramble to get it together for 2016? And if not, is 2020 going to be a factor for him?
Is it going to be there?
Some of these
going to be available?
That's what I mean. This kid probably could be 2016, but it may time out better for him for 2020. And we got to hope that this decision is reversed and we're reinstated.
Got to get it reversed.
To give these opportunities to guys like, Dake and Taylor and Oliver and these guys who are going to be members of the team, presumably. I mean, I don't think it's a stretch at all to say those guys have a shot to be on the team for sure, and to cost. I mean, I don't know how Dake's style is going to translate into with international wrestling and with freestyle. I'm not sure. I think this guy for sure will.
Yep.
Taylor and Dake will have their work cut out for him with Trent Polson. I think he pinned Dake, I'm pretty sure. That was Polson's horse strong, and they'll horse you. But it's going to be fun. We're going to be there watching it all sort out.
Yep.
It's going to be fun.
So Oliver in on a single leg, but Chamberlain whips it down and takes it back. So nothing out of that whole
50
transaction.
seconds left in the first period.
Nice shot there. Lower scoring match probably, I don't know if it favors Chamberlain or not. I mean, he's good at those. He has some wins. His big nemesis this year has been Scott Sakaguchi from the same conference, Oregon State Beavers. Sakaguchi and Chamberlain's had some fantastic matches this year.
Yep.
They went back and forth. So, and I'm not sure if that. What was our history here, Jeff?
Chamberlain,
between these two?
Between these two?
Yeah.
Between Chamberlain and Oliver?
Yeah.
Boy, I'm not sure, Steve.
If they wrestled. Believe it or not.
Not this year anyway.
I'm going to do some research, but I think, are you ready for this? I think Chamberlain beat Oliver in freestyle. Chamberlain's a great freestyler. But I'll do some research. I went out on a limb there, guys. I might even sawed it off.
Yeah.
I'm falling. Help me with my
Well,
parachute.
I don't think so. See, I think Chamberlain's always been a heavier weight than Oliver. Oliver obviously coming up 2 weight classes now. Maybe there, but
right.
certainly not in folk style because...
Yeah. Well, I know him and Hochstrasser work out a lot, and they want to meet those world teams. And so here we go. Oliver. How'd it go? Oliver starts down, Chamberlain on top.
Yep, 0-0 going into the second period.
Jason's a tough kid. He's married, and his wife and him have a child. Jason Chamberlain, I got to meet her once. We all went out to eat once. Where was it? The Unidome, maybe up around there. He's a good kid. Oliver's just so good, though, too. He's a Pennsylvania prep, actually.
Oliver
out
out
of Pennsylvania.
Oliver out with an escape, 1-0 in his favor. Second period, minute 46 seconds left.
Collar tie.
Easton, Pennsylvania.
Yes. I'd be surprised if Chamberlain takes too much risk here. 7-3 at a 2-1 tiebreaker against Sakaguchi.
Yep.
And then beat Lester, one of the Lester brothers. Majored him 14-5, and then won his first match 18-4 by major. So it's not a stretch to say Chamberlain doesn't score a lot of points, but he's not wrestling Oliver every time either. So
yep.
Both of them kind of that tripod stance. They like to keep that low level there. Minute and 6 seconds to go in the second period. Just 7 seconds of riding time in favor of Jason Chamberlain of Boise State. Greg Randall in the corner there for the Boise State Broncos. Big time Gable, what do you call them? Gable disciples, is that right, Billy?
Yeah, exactly.
Gable disciples.
Coming off the Gable coaching tree.
Yep.
Yeah.
Greg Randall, Gable. Mount Vernon, Iowa.
Yeah, Mount Vernon, Iowa. I think Tim Johnson was his coach, maybe. And that long time, the guy does a lot of great commentary for wrestling. Coached him in high school.
Probably
doing the ESPN right now. Yeah, he's actually probably, I'm sure, doing the play-by-play for ESPN. So. Tim Johnson is. Collar tie here between the two. Yeah, not far from Washington, Iowa, huh, Jeff?
Right. All grew up at the same time, or about the same place. We were 30 miles south of Iowa City, Mount Vernon, just north of Iowa City.
Southeast Iowa, where all the tough guys come, huh?
That's right.
You were raised on Tough Street, and the farther you went down the street, the tougher it got, and your house was the last one on the left, right?
And you went a little bit further to the north, well, or the east, and you saw Barry Davis and the Zaleski boys.
Yeah, it's quite a trifecta, wasn't it?
Good wrestlers
Cedar
coming out of that part of the state back then. Too bad I wasn't one of them, huh?
Yeah, well, he went out for wrestling. You did your best, didn't you? It's because all those brothers you had were wearing you out. How many brothers did you have?
4 brothers and a sister.
Like Billy. Billy had some brothers, didn't you, my friend?
4 boys and 2 girls.
Yeah.
It's about the same size family here between the Baldwins and the Murphys.
That's right.
It's a lot of kids, huh? Wrestling for your food at the table?
Yeah, some nights.
I heard those stories anyway from some people. Chamberlain out, so we got a tie, guys. It's all tied up, 1-1, 1:41 to go in the third period. Who's going to take a shot or who's not, huh? Got a collar tie between the two. Oliver kind of caught up in that controversial call last year. If he would have got that call to go his way last year, he could be very likely going for his third national title. That's just how good Jordan Oliver is. He's been in these finals before, and this could be his third. But he's going for his second title. Pardon me.
He almost had that ankle pick there.
Yep. Oh,
Chamberlain in him.
But Oliver's just pretty quick.
Chamberlain's real tough. People wrestle him say his legs are so strong, he's just hard to get him off his base. Works out hard. I know him and Hochstrasser work out a lot. One of Murphy's favorite German names to say, right?
That's
Hochstrasser.
Right.
So, Jimmy's probably listening. How you doing, Jimmy, out there in Idaho? We got 58 seconds to go. It's all tied up, guys, 1-1. Who's going to take that chance, huh? Fans want it to happen.
That's right. Well, we've been gearing up for
another shot there by Chamberlain. It's been about 3-0 here.
There's going to be an explosive flurry here in a minute or two, or a second or two. 40 seconds left in this match.
They're doing a lot of collar tying, a lot of pushing and shoving, just trying to wear each other down. Neither one of these guys I've ever noticed in their career that they take long timeouts or anything. Their cardio is great.
30 seconds
I'll tell you,
left.
Chamberlain doing a lot of pushing. Oliver backing up.
Yep, 25 seconds back to the center. Referee blows the whistle, and here we go.
It's interesting. I think they know their opponents their opponent very well.
Yeah.
I think that Oliver knew he shouldn't get sloppy, and he's got to really set something up nice here.
Snapped down by Oliver.
Now Billy Baldwin's being the prophet.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Good prophecy there, Mr. Baldwin.
Yeah.
He knew he shouldn't try something too early that was anything messy or high risk. He really had to feel this guy out and set something up, and there he goes with 5 seconds left.
No, I think he's wired to Billy. That was good. He just doesn't want to take any chances. He's got to set up just perfect. Billy gets done. Mr. Baldwin says that, and we get a takedown by Oliver. Big scramble there by Chamberlain to gets the escape. But two-time champ, three-time finalist Jordan Oliver, Jason Chamberlain takes second in a tightly fought match there.
Yep.
Chris Owens also a real good coach there for Boise State. So in the corner. So
we've.
That was beautiful.
That was tough. Good strategy there by Oliver.
We've seen a lot more.
He could have run that clock out and gone into overtime there. He attempted that shot with about 16, 17 seconds left in the period.
You called it. You knew what he had to do, Billy.
It was cat-like.
Congratulations to Jason Chamberlain, a nice guy. Likes to eat at hoo-ha.
Seems like there's a lot more decorum at the end of the matches this year than in some years, with all this, and there's some excitement, but it's just excitement, and we're done, and we're off the stage, and that's kind of nice.
Johnny Johnson out there, one of the award-winning photographers out there, getting ready to take some pictures of the All-Americans that Jeff Murphy's going to talk to us about here in a second.
Read to you here in a second.
These guys need their name out there on the radio broadcast. They deserve it, and they work for it.
I better get the rest of them done here because I stopped in the middle because I was talking.
It's the 149-pound weight class. We know who's on top. Kendrick Maple for the Oklahoma Sooners, and Mitchell Port was in the finals at 141. Yep, 141.
Yeah, see, Steve, you're getting ahead of yourself again. Don't
hold a Steve-O.
Oh, I got to get back here. I got to get this.
We call those Steve-Os on our broadcast. So it's just, and the older I get, the more numbers it has, the higher the number goes. What's up with that, huh?
Talk to us about
So, my good friend Scotty had two hotties out there talking to Mr. Oliver. All 10 of these guys, by the way, will be on Takedown Radio this Saturday.
Nice.
We always have every one of them on our show. So,
we're better to do it.
What is Henderson's first name?
39-year-old man. How does it feel? A champion.
Feels great, walking off the mat last year.
Getting the right weight class.
Really put a fire under me, and coming back in tonight, I just kept remembering how it felt to walk off the mat and know I took second place one.
Congratulations, young man. Good job, buddy.
Feels awesome.
Classy kid.
Yeah, he
Classy
is.
kid.
Good kid. Thank you, Jordan Oliver. Thank you, Scott Casper. And listen to Takedown Radio this year. I know, Jeff, you've been in a lot of them. I've been doing this for 16 years with Mr. Casper, and we'll have all 10 champs on our show this weekend. And you'll be able to hear it on the internet, hear it on KXNO 1460. You'll be able to hear it on out in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and our syndicated station up in Rochester, Minnesota. You'll be able to hear each one of these guys in depth.
And on iHeartRadio around the world.
Yeah, that's right.
So let's talk about the All-Americans at 141 pounds. So in 8th place, Zach Niebert from Virginia Tech. In 7th place, Nick Dardanes, the heavier of the two Dardane brothers from Minnesota. In 6th place, Evan Henderson from North Carolina. In 5th place, Michael Nevinger from Cornell. Can't read my own writing. In 4th place, Undrek Bayar
Kishanayam.
Yep.
Good old Kishanayam.
Yep. And in 3rd place, Hunter Stieber from Ohio State University.
The Buckeyes.
In 2nd place, Mitchell Port from Edinburgh. And your 141-pound champion, Kendrick Maple from the Oklahoma Sooners.
Oklahoma Sooners. He also won the Outstanding Wrestler at the Midlands for the Kincraft Midlands, and
undirected by our Crescentium.
Yeah, Crescentium.
I've just got that one down, and by the time fall comes around, I'll have forgotten it all.
The coaches call him Oogie for short. Joe Gibbons, national champ, 4-time Iowa High School state champ, gave out the awards there, representing the Iowa State Cyclones. Joe Gibbons and Kevin Dresser, those were some matches, guys. Both Iowa prep kids back in the day, and Smokin' Joe, as they called him. One of the two Gibbons, well, actually, no, there's how many Gibbons? There was Steve, Joe,
four boys,
Jeff, and Jim. So four Gibbons brothers, and they were all very successful in this sport of wrestling. For Iowa State, which is the host, they're hosting this tournament. Doing a good job.
All right. From Northwestern University,
Mr. Scrambler.
Jason Welch. And in the green corner, from the Iowa Hawkeyes, Derek St. John.
Similar builds. The best scrambler in the nation this year, I think, anyway, Jason Welch. He's a great scrambler. He's dangerous from any position. And some of the positions he's dangerous from, there isn't even a real official wrestling title for. It's just called scrambling or funk. He's kind of the funk meister.
All right, now this is the Iowa Hawkeyes' last opportunity for a national champion
They need
this
to rock
year.
and roll, don't they?
Not been a good year for the Iowa Hawkeyes. At least the end of the year has not been a good year.
For most teams, it would be great to take the place that they've done, but for their history, you're right, Jeff.
They were up and they were down. They were up and they were down. They did not finish well at the end of national duels with 2 losses. They did not finish well at the Big Ten tournament. They came into this tournament with some high expectations, and I would say they've not met those expectations. We had a trivia question earlier today. When was the last time the Iowa Hawkeyes came into the last day of the tournament mathematically out of the team title race?
Murphy, did you find it?
I went home and did some homework this afternoon, and that was in 2007.
You got the official pairings right there.
That was Tom Brand's first year, and the Iowa Hawkeyes, as of Friday night of that tournament, they were in 8th place with 48.5 points, and Iowa State was leading at the time, although Minnesota wound up the eventual champion, but Iowa State was leading with 83.5 points. So we have to go all the way back to Tom Brand's first year at the helm when they had a tournament that they fared as poorly as they have this tournament. Now I will point out though that in 2007 the Hawkeyes did have one national champion, and that was the one and only Mark Perry.
We're underway.
Mark Perry, here we go. St. John wants to keep it high pace. Good cardio by Welch too, so he's dangerous. He loves to scramble. We watched him. Think how good Green is from Nebraska this year, and imagine he pinned Green in the Big Tens. I mean, that just shows you how tough he is, how dangerous he is. Green works out with Burroughs, by the way. Some people have heard of him.
Burroughs? Who?
Jordan who?
Yeah. So
Welch
back in that 2007, so they had 3 All-Americans. They had Mark Perry as a champion. They had Ethan Lutke, who was the 3rd place winner at 174 pounds, and they had Charlie Falk, who was the 8th place finisher at 125. So
see if they can get a champ here for the Iowa Hawkeye contingency.
Yep, the Hawkeyes have been
fans are kind of
quite quiet this weekend.
Yeah, they're kind of sitting on their hands here, wondering, hey, can we do this or not? On paper, they would. No, I guess they wouldn't be favored. It's the number 1, number 2 seed, but these guys are close. 30-2. St. John's came in here. 4 more wins, so 34-2, and 4 more wins for Jason Welch. Officially, at this point, make him 38-1. He came in 34-1.
Yep. So Jason Welch has lost to Green from Nebraska,
who he pinned later.
And Derek St. John had a great season going right up till the end, and then they wrestled Missouri in the last duel at National Duels, and Kyle Bradley beat him 4-3, and then that same James Green at the Big Ten tournament beat him 5-4.
We saw Bradley. He can knock people off their pedestal. He beat Green, remember earlier in this? Bradley did from Missouri in this tournament from Missouri Tigers. So couple shots and half-free shots there. No score, 1:08 to go in the first period.
Interesting to see in the Big Ten's teams like Northwestern and Illinois and Ohio State coming in. They're in any other conference in the country, and they're a powerhouse. And in the Big Tens, they're coming in 5th, 6th, 7th place.
Absolutely.
Shows you how stacked that Big Ten's getting, and they're just getting to be so many teams. The Terps are coming in here soon. The Rutgers going to be part of the Big Ten, and the Big Ten is now already. Actually, officially, the Big Ten's got the Big 12, and the Big 12's the Big 10 if you do your math.
Right.
Pretty soon it's going to be the Big 14. So
yeah.
Will they ever officially change it? Somebody's going to put a calculator out in front of them and say, guys, we got to do something about this.
I think that Big Ten trademark's pretty strong.
Yeah. They probably got it trademarked with
Oh, yeah.
No doubt.
For years.
Goes way back. No score here still. 24 seconds to go between Iowa and Northwestern.
When Pat Riley was coaching the Los Angeles Lakers, he trademarked the term three-peat.
Yeah.
And I think if like Penn State were to make T-shirts for this tournament that said three-peat, they're paying
royalties.
Pat Riley's getting a royalty on that
Oh,
T-shirt.
great.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah,
He's
when
got
you
that
trademark stuff,
trademark.
it's yours.
Yeah. I don't know. That seems like that should be something that belongs to the public domain.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah, that's right. Some of those common words can't be trademarked. I've been informed anyway. Being an owner of Riddex Termite Pest Control and everybody, somebody hijacked my trademark. I learned a lot real quick, and fortunately I'd had it used longer than the person that chose to do that. So Riddex Termite Pest Control is still in existence.
Second period, 0-0.
Welch is up on his feet. Go out of bounds. 1:55 to go. Out of bounds they go, guys. Welch starts on the bottom, so.
Yep. So I'd like to see a little activity here.
I would be surprised Welch likes to maybe turn into a scramble, but he doesn't want to do anything foolish, so.
No,
it's got to be tough. You might not see the usual scramble. He'll probably go to the scramble situation if he trails.
Well, that's just it. You'll have 2 minutes of not much, and then the last minute will just be a
There's a hook of the leg. You see how he tries to do some real unusual stuff there.
Yeah. St. John's ties that arm up underneath, has that really, really tight waist on him.
St. John's at Iowa City West High School, I believe, and Welch, California prep, coming all the way from California to wrestle for Northwestern.
Walnut Creek, California. And actually, St. John's is out of Parnell, Iowa.
Wrestle for Iowa City West.
Yeah.
Parnell, is that far from Washington?
I know where Parnell is.
Yeah, you've driven your old hot rod through there, haven't you?
There's not much there.
So you drive your hot rod fast through there, huh?
Yeah. There's a T road. That's
there?
about it. Used to be a tavern in Parnell.
Yeah.
Don't know if that exists anymore.
I know what it's surrounded by. Corn. Welcome to Iowa. Minute and 18 seconds to go in the second period. 42 seconds of riding time in favor of St. John. Welch needs to get out. Got to get out. Caution on Iowa Hawkeye, St. John's.
0-0. You know, I should have kept my mouth shut when I said there was a lot of action in these finals. Since then, it's really slowed down.
Well, semis and quarters usually have a lot more action, but there's some good stuff going on right here, guys.
Welch is up. St. John's down on an ankle low.
Kick out.
Welch is trying to kick out, but St. John's
tight waist ankle ride. Come right up to that tight waist ankle ride there by St. John. And
How St. John was able to ride that pony, that Bronco right there. That was some good wrestling on top.
Just about riding time there too, Billy and Jeff. 56 seconds.
I tell you what, you couldn't find two guys who had more similar builds. You know, both tall.
Yeah, they really are tall and
lanky.
lanky. Yeah, they are. Yeah, that's a lot of reach.
You know that
St. John maybe even a little more. He's real lanky.
Well, that makes it a little tougher for Welch to do some of the things he does.
Scrambles, yeah.
You know, St. John's just that similar kind of a wrestler from the body type standpoint.
They're busy and they're working hard. So
45 seconds left in this second period. 0-0, but St. John's has a minute and 15 seconds of riding time, which could become a factor as we go down the road here.
45 seconds to go. Welch needs to get up and out. There, nice Granby, but just a release and then follow him through. And nice cover by St. John's.
St. John's does a great job. He's got Welch's leg and he dumps him back to the mat.
And tight waist, ankle ride there, yeah.
St. John's just doing a great job of riding, minute and 30
Welch
seconds.
is a little bit more offensively active, and St. John's reacting.
Well, I tell you, almost
responding defensively.
Almost a total ride out here in the second period.
30 seconds left for Welch to get away.
Tight waist. Those tight waist rides by St. John is good. He's got those long arms.
Yep.
Boy, look at these switch.
Yep.
I tell you, Welch is trying, guys.
Yeah, Welch is
He's
trying.
tried about everything he could.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. He's
St. John
really
just
very active.
Really riding him tough.
Now he's got him belly flat. So St.
Put
John
that tight
really
waist in.
bearing down
10
on Welch.
seconds
But
in the second period.
wow, total ride out here.
Yep. The Hawkeyes get to their feet and cheer on their last hope for a champion.
Riding time is officially a factor.
That long and lanky St. John doing a good job, guys. That's a lot of riding time.
2 minutes of riding time.
He showed me something there, I gotta say, St.
It's a
John.
train load of riding time. Now Welch gets the chance to, technically they could go to tiebreaker 0-0 if he could ride out St. John all the way, but
Yeah.
chances of that.
Yeah, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Oh, might load him up here. Welch has the ability to
Tilt
pin
him.
people.
Oh,
pick
there
up
it is.
Back point.
Kenny Ritchie not in position there.
He's a great tilder.
That was a little iffy. We might see a green flag go up again. Nope.
Collar tie,
I don't
waist
think it was
ride.
there. I don't think
Oh,
it was
wait a minute. There's the red flag. Is the red flag going up? The red flag is up.
I didn't see it. I don't see two there.
That was fast.
It was kind of a hand-to-hand, so I'm not sure.
Yeah,
But
like Billy said earlier, they got to watch that at regular time, not slow motion.
yeah.
Because
But the thing is that, you know, if you got one, if you got more than one,
use it.
you better use it.
yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah, they don't.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, we remind you of
As long as it's not on your credit card, use it.
Yep. Sad part is if you used it and then you didn't have it, and then something even worse happened a little later in the match.
Yeah, that's what my wife says about my credit card.
Yeah.
That's the exact same thing she
If
says.
you got it, I want to use it, huh? So
right.
a minute and 46 seconds left, and a minute and 45 seconds of riding time. The clocks are just a little off from one another.
Yeah, they are. That's proof of it. so.
Hasn't clicked over quite yet. Hey, more literature. You know what?
Yeah.
We're gonna have lots to read over the course of next week. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
we
read.
will.
I'm gonna read all these. That way, I'll sound really smart when all these guys
Takedown.
come on the video next week.
We got to interview all the champs. Scott has more people's cell phone in his phone, I promise you, than anybody else on the earth.
All right. So, no near fall.
36 to go.
And we.
But that's not the end of it, maybe. But St. John doing a real good job, just getting up to his base. Well, it's trying to break him down. He's got to break him down and ride him. He's going to want to try to turn him, obviously. Wow, big. Oh, that's some great wrestling, guys.
Hands.
That's some great wrestling, guys, by both wrestlers.
Yep.
Set out, switch, re-switch.
So St. John now up 1-0, 2-0 effectively with the riding time
Locking
because
the hands.
locking of the hands penalty point.
Wow, that happened so fast. Happened so fast. That'd be something if that's the difference. Of course, he's got that riding time. So the riding time the button didn't get pushed exact like Murphy said. It's off just slightly. Mathematically, it shouldn't be. Welch trying to take St. John down. Gets him down. Now it's St. John trying to get the kick out. He gets the kick out.
Yeah.
Hawkeyes are excited. So, Welch! Here he got St. John in a situation. Oh, boy, he's on back.
There's two.
Oh, but the riding time.
There's a minute left.
10 seconds. He's got 10
Needs to
seconds
get rid of
to
it.
knock off. He's going to be fine.
Wow, that's huge by Welch.
Yep, he's gonna be able to do it, I think. So then he's just got to ride him like crazy. But boy, Welch is pretty high.
Stalemate.
Stalemate.
101.
Minute and 1 second. Riding time.
Referee, promise me. Just promise me you weren't looking at the scoreboard. Okay, he's got to do a quick kick out, huh? Of course, it's 2-2, and if he gets out, then Welch has to go after him. So, 'cause with that escape, you get a point, obviously.
Yeah.
He's got to get rid of the riding time and then continue to ride him.
Yep. 48
So
seconds
it's
left.
it's under the minute.
Yeah. So the riding time is gone.
Wow.
But what's really important is 42 seconds left in this match.
Wrestling on top is a dying art.
Yep.
And these two guys are both Picassos right now.
Yeah, they are.
They've both done a terrific job.
They re-resurrected it.
Yeah.
This is the most exciting match I've seen at 2-2. There's more activity with
Yes.
fewer points. Not a lot of points, but there's a lot of action.
Typical.
Welch falls off. Wow. So St. John stands up. Welch tries to throw something and slides off the side, falls off.
Yep.
So now it's 3-2 in favor of St. John.
Look at Welch.
St. John comes chasing across the match. He gets Welch by an ankle, but he has not got the 2 yet, but time is a
Welch
waste.
is dangerous there. Welch has good hips.
Before that Jordan Oliver didn't want to do. Get overly zealous, get sloppy.
Oh, St. John doesn't have it. Yeah, Welch is all tied up.
Welch put himself in a bad position.
Yeah, 15 seconds. He's going to have to do something really funky. Or...
Shot. 6.
Yeah. So, and St. John's just laying there on an ankle. That's all he's got to do.
He's going to
Hawkeyes do get a national champ. Yep.
3-2. Hawkeye fight song coming on, guys. It's the Iowa Hawkeye fight song.
Yeah, whose plan is that?
Probably Scott Casper. Big win for the Iowa Hawkeyes. They're happy.
Yeah.
Kurt Backus, Mr. Brands.
Well, they don't go over, so Tommy doesn't have to get the green shirt on.
Yeah.
Become the janitor.
Right.
So that's probably a good thing.
There you go. We got Scott Casper, Mr. Herky the Hawk back in the day.
You know, if he was a janitor, he'd start sweeping, then he'd get frustrated and whack somebody with a broom.
But you see what I was talking about, right? Jordan Oliver, I was saying, doesn't want to do anything that's low percentage, putting himself at high risk. And he had probably a good 20-25 seconds to get that takedown there. He's down by a point, and he got very aggressive right at the whistle, and he just made a high-risk move there. And I just think he should have taken another 5 or 6 seconds to set that up rather than like a desperation shot.
Okay, yeah, he kind of got a little speeded up, didn't he? I didn't hear the response, but it had to be fun. Scott's just cracking up. So it was short.
Whatever it wasn't very long.
It was short. Probably something like Hawkeye's rule. He bowed or something, you know.
Yeah.
I could see him say something like that. So.
All right, so we're
yeah, you're right though, Billy. He should have been a little bit more patient.
He got a little messy.
Should have been patient. Yep, should have been patient. So
hard to be patient when you're down by a point. The national title's on the line, and there's 30 seconds left. But still, 30 seconds is enough time to sit back for a second and try to set something up. Get a really deep double leg, you know.
All right, let's talk about our All-Americans at 149 pounds. So in 8th place, we've got Nick Bruschetta of Virginia Tech. In 7th place, Ivan Lupachansky from Purdue.
Mr. Excitement.
In 6th place, we've got Drake Howdeshelt from University of Missouri. In 5th place, we've got Scott Sakaguchi from Oregon State University. In 4th place, we've got Dylan Ness from University of Minnesota. In 3rd place, Steve Santos from Columbia. In 2nd place, from Boise State University, Jason Chamberlain. And from Oklahoma State Cowboys, your 2013 149-pound champion, Jordan Oliver.
Big championship there.
Gentlemen.
3-time finalist, 2-time champ, Billy.
The moment, truly the moment we've all been waiting for. They've done something very unorthodox here. The NCAA and ESPN have decided to save the 165-pound national championship match.
Main event.
And turn it into the main event here. So we have Dake, number 1 seed, versus Taylor, number 2 seed, with everything on the line here. And I think that I've never seen anything like it. I know they've never done it before, and I think with a little flair for the dramatic and trying to jack the ratings a little bit here for ESPN, keeping all the eyes on the program till the very end.
Yep.
We're going to see something that I think is going to be
special.
History, special either way, and history either way.
Oh, you know what? You spoiled it. I was going to say to the listeners, well, that's it. We're going to wrap it up for tonight. Oh, maybe not.
Yeah. You would get some emails,
Yeah,
Jeff.
Send your emails to Scott Casper at takedownradio.com. All right. So this is going to be good.
If fans listen to this program are too savvy, they never would have fallen for that. Never would have fallen for it.
Wait, those guys are cutting us off? What's the deal? Yeah. We're going to go to a broadcast of Heidi now and the wonderful world of Disney.
Basket weaving, brought to you by Jeff Murphy.
All right. Boy, this is the main event, that's for sure.
Yeah, it is. Taylor Dake. How special is this? It's kind of reminiscent of Bannock and Schultz wrestled.
Millions of hours have been spent this last year on message boards and discussing.
Yeah, as you know, Bannock and Schultz were great ones back in the day. Both of them won 6 title titles.
All right.
Kyle Dick, championship at 4 different weights. Matt Smith, brother of John, great John, Leroy Smith, national championships. And I believe the only other time that was achieved was when Cale Sanderson won his 4 in 2002 and finished his career 159-0. Not even Gable won 4 national titles because you weren't allowed to wrestle in this tournament as a freshman back in the day when Gable was a freshman probably in 66 or 67. His senior year I think was 70. And you couldn't wrestle in this tournament as a freshman. So for all the marbles here, for a very special chapter in history, Kyle Dake versus David Taylor.
It's going to be fun, guys. Gable lost to Larry Owens his last match. I think he'd won 186 in a row, I believe.
Of course, 181, I think.
181,
yeah. Of course, he couldn't win 4 because he lost to Larry Owens.
Yeah.
Perhaps one of the biggest losses in American wrestling history.
But
one of the biggest losses and perhaps upsets.
This could go right down as one of the other biggest losses in American history of David Taylor.
Well, if it does, then I don't go 10 for 10. Because I'm picking Dake, but Taylor's an awesome.
You couldn't have gone 10 for 10. You told me to pick Welsh.
Yeah, I did, didn't I?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm 8 for 9.
Did you tell me to pick Welsh and you went the other way? With St.
I
John?
can't change.
Yeah,
I can't change.
bad.
I can't change. I picked Welch.
You
I'm
said
8-1.
Wildcats.
I'm 8-1. I am 8-1.
I'm 7-2. I lost to Quentin Wright.
I'm in trouble, guys.
In my mind, I've won them all.
There you go. Yeah, in your mind, since we didn't have to write them.
Got a problem?
Write them down too, did we?
I'm not here when you guys need to stop. Just hit stop.
Yeah, we'll hit the stop. Don't worry. We got that one figured
Look
out.
at the way Dake walks on the mat.
You want us to do it right now? You want us to do it right now?
Listen to the electricity in this room right now.
Oh, it is.
Here we go.
It's
Here we
just
go.
full. It's
Dake versus
wonderful.
Taylor. It's on. It's on.
All right, boy, I'll tell you what. There's 17,000 people all standing right now
Dake wants to keep it busy.
on the edge of their seats.
Taylor wants to keep this thing high pace, guys.
Oh, Taylor in on the takedown. Oh, my. Oh, throw the edge of the mat. Oh, boy.
That's the big 2-point takedown there for DT.
That's how Taylor's going to win this.
Yeah, he's got. If he keeps it high pace,
and he saps the confidence out of Dake.
That's
maybe
right.
He can get something going here.
He wants to show America that he is the best wrestler in college wrestling.
tight waist ride here by Taylor. Trying to go for all the marbles here, and Dake is too. So Cornell against Penn State. The East is well represented here, guys.
Oh, boy.
Northeast.
Oh, Dake's got that ankle, and he's picking it up and turning into Taylor. And throws Taylor almost to his back. Not quite. And referee gives him 1, both up.
He gave one.
2-1 in favor of David Taylor.
Boy, if they were in the middle of the mat, that would have been a different story.
Dake can't believe it's not 2.
And they're going
He says, why isn't it 2?
They're going to throw the red flag.
I think it's 1. I think it's a good call, but if that were in the middle of the mat, it would have been 2.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
only because Taylor got out of bounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even then, I don't know. I think they do have a point taking a look at it because, Dake's feet were still in bounds.
It's worth looking at. I just don't know if he had control.
Yeah.
I'll go so far to say if it was in the middle of the mat, Taylor may have been to his
Boy,
back.
I'm telling you what.
Right.
Dake would have had him on his back.
Dake was heading him that way.
Taylor had been pointing upward.
2-1 with 2 minutes and 14 seconds left in this first period. Wow, we've seen excitement thus far. Got a little blood out there, so while we're checking the video replay, I
wish we could get the replay up here.
Really? They're going to let 17,000 people see
Be the referees.
Yeah, exactly.
Wants no part of that.
All right, so
a lot of referees want to
They said no takedown or no reversal, just an escape. So both wrestlers back in the center.
I think that's the right call.
And now that they both had a chance to be a little flamboyant with each other, now we'll see what happens.
Big ankle pick there by Taylor and a real quick power move there by Dake.
Yeah.
Big power move there by
So
Kyle Dake.
We've seen a great chest move followed by a great chest move. Now we'll see what happens. Oh, Taylor tries a takedown. Dake fights him off.
Another big prediction here. Told the people Taylor will be a 2-time national champ when he's done, so he's either going to make me. Of course, he's got another year to go.
That's right.
Maybe he'll jump up and meet Howe at 74. You think? That'd be fun. Andrew Howe, David Taylor.
I think he better put a little more meat on his bone.
Yeah. Yep. Rumor has it anyway. Andrew Howe's going to 74. 2-1 is the score. Taylor with that initial takedown. 1:25 seconds go. 29 seconds of riding time for Taylor. Dake got out in real powerful fashion.
We were talking about top wrestling before. Last year, the year before in the finals, Dake had about 6.5 minutes of riding time.
Oh, he's tough on top.
He's just an absolute beast on top.
He gets on top of you, boy, he'll stretch you in two or twist you in half.
I mean, he was in the finals. He had more riding time in the finals match than any other wrestler probably had the entire tournament.
Yeah. Against Frank the Tank. Frank's tough.
Yeah.
Frank Molinaro, I mean.
Taylor is Taylor's just sort of stalking him, and Dake's in there hand fighting and fighting with him, but right now Taylor's definitely the aggressor on this thing.
Trying to move Dake around. There's Dake in on a leg.
Yep.
Trying to come around the corner, Dake is.
Yep, he's in between the legs.
He's very smart in this position here, Dake.
Yeah, he's dangerous.
Yep, Taylor.
Let's see if he can solve this.
He's going to have to finish it here. He's going to have to.
Can he solve this?
Trying to come out the
Taylor's
back.
Still made or not.
Oh, Dake turns around and he gets a 2 and goes in a half.
Almost.
But Taylor up to his feet immediately.
Dake tough on top.
Time, 10 seconds left. 10 seconds left. We're going to see if Taylor can get away.
Down. Big Granby roll. Boy, he almost picks up 2 there. He stops Taylor during a Granby roll.
That's the period.
Dake comes out on top, guys.
Wow, Dake up 3-2 over Taylor at the end of 1. And we got a...
He's going down. Taylor's got the choice. He's going down.
Nope.
Dake's
got the choice.
Dake's got the choice.
Yep. All right. Taylor with 13 seconds of riding time right now.
Tell you what, Dake came out of this last time in a pinning combination.
Absolutely. So we'll see what happens here. Dake not a real powerful first move. Just slowly getting up to a tripod and then up to his feet.
Cut back.
Yep. Taylor takes him down, but Dake scoots right on out. So 4-2 in favor of Dake with that escape. Minute and 40 seconds left.
2-point lead for Dake now. 4-2. In on the leg is Taylor.
Ankle, picks Dake up.
You got an overhook now. He got out of that.
Yeah. They go off the
Big
mat.
whizzer there by Dake.
Wow.
That whizzer was a takedown savior there for Kyle Dake. Taylor's getting in on the legs.
Yep.
Of course, Dake did too on his takedown as well. So powered Taylor down. Dake did. 1:20 to go in the second period. Dake trying to make history, and David Taylor, if you're not the Giant, you become just as famous when you're the Giant Slayer.
Yep.
Many times in this sport of wrestling.
We get the guy going for his 4-time national championship against a Hodge winner last year.
Right.
Collar tie between these two.
I feel so privileged to be able to be here and watch
this is just a great match.
It's a historic moment. You know.
I just have such gratitude for what Kyle Dake has done for NCAA wrestling.
Murphy and I got to follow
and
Cale Sanderson around his whole career. It was just like a book being written as we went, right, Murphy?
Yeah, and we didn't even know the book was being written.
Yeah, for the time. I mean, the chapters were just interesting, and they got better as it went.
We just thought we had a couple of pretty good freshmen, and
Joe Heskett,
Cale Sanderson.
So
all right, just a lot of collar tie and hand fighting, and 16 seconds left in this period.
Big Red and the Penn State Nittany Lions behind us. So.
All right, so
5 seconds.
Yeah. Gonna end.
These guys have been working hard. They've used up some energy, guys.
Yeah.
That's all. Those were heavy hands. Real heavy hands.
Very interesting. I doubt Dake is going to be able to ride this guy for the entire period. So it's gonna
4-2.
Is he gonna get riding time though? Is the question.
It's going to be tough. It's already in Taylor's.
Taylor with a Granby, but Dake follows him right along.
Dake's tough on top.
Taylor up to his feet. Dake takes him back to the mat.
Good little hip maneuver there by Dake, but he's going to have to keep doing it.
Dake Taylor working on splitting those hands. Dake takes him down and takes him off the mat.
He's so good on top.
He is.
So a minute and 42 seconds left in this third period. Kyle Dake still up 4-2. Riding time not a factor.
Reminded me of Pete Galea of Iowa State, one of the great riders, and the Steiner brothers, Troy and Terry for Iowa. They were some of the greatest riders ever.
Tight waist and a half here, up on their feet.
Yeah, Taylor up to his feet. Taylor starts to act like he's going to do somewhat of a Granby and comes down, but Dake stays right with him.
That tight waist claw ride by Dake.
Yeah. Taylor up to his feet again. Dake takes him back to the mat. That's just it. He's got that half Nelson in there.
14 seconds going his direction
now. He's alternating between a claw and a half.
Yep.
Now he's in a spiral.
Yep.
Spiral.
Off the mat.
Tight waist. It's good. He's got a tight waist.
Minute and 12 seconds left. 4-2 in favor of Dake. Taylor's going to have to do something pretty explosive pretty quick here.
21 seconds of riding time for Dake.
All right.
One of these modern day wrestlers.
Taylor up to his feet, and Dake takes him down to the mat, almost on his head.
Yeah, he landed a little bit on his shoulder and the side of his head there.
And Taylor back up.
Almost threw him to his back.
You know what? He's taking it to him pretty good right now.
He's taking the steam.
Dake's riding him tough and takes him over again.
Taylor a little
That's
bit.
3 times in a row. Dake's taking him over backwards with that tight waist and a half Nelson, and every time he takes him back to the mat, he takes him over
We're
backwards.
approaching riding time here, guys. It's critical right now.
To go.
40 seconds left in this match. Oh my goodness. That's everybody in the whole auditorium thinks that's awful.
That was a terrible call.
I don't know how you can call that.
That is a
Man.
call.
Come on, Pat.
He will not have
That was a terrible call.
You're a better referee than that. That's a lousy call.
That was a terrible call. This has been awesome riding by Dake. There's no stalling going on whatsoever.
Riding time. There's a minute for Dake. And they're off the mat. You know, that call by Pat Fitzgerald was the worst call since Freddie Ambrose called stalling on Cale Sanderson.
That was just a bad
or
call.
Oliver Stieber call last year, the Stieber-Oliver call. Dake is not stalling, guys.
No.
He's painting the canvas.
He's just taking him back to the mat.
You know, I tried to stay neutral, and as soon as he called it, I yelled right into the mic, "Oh, come on," because I just was.
Oh, and Taylor gets away.
No, nothing.
Nothing. Calls them both up. Taylor gets away. It's 4-3 now, but
it's 5-3 with riding time.
Yeah, but there's 19 seconds left in this match. 19 seconds. David Taylor
stalling. He has been hit with a stall call. A stall warning.
He's got a 2 point. Doesn't matter.
This
It's 2
referee
points.
cannot call stalling.
Oh, he did.
He did.
He's got to lose his credentials.
No, but he's still got the riding time, fellas. It isn't going to matter.
3 seconds to go.
Terrible calls by the ref.
Don't back up.
On Taylor.
Don't back up. He backed up.
Yeah, it doesn't matter at that point.
That's it.
Dake does history. Part of history, guys.
Kyle Dake.
4-time
great
national
match.
champion.
4
Different weight classes.
4 times.
There he is, guys.
I sit here and I applaud this kid.
Yep, that was a great match. Just a great match.
You know what?
I tell you what.
There's only one word for it. He's special.
Yeah.
He's special.
Yeah.
He's absolutely special.
I got to tell you, David Taylor.
David Taylor pinged his way through this tournament, and Dake still took it to him.
Good job, Kyle Dake.
Yeah.
Amazing.
We will look back 10, 20 years from now and say, I was here on that night. I saw that. I saw that happen.
That's right, Billy Baldwin.
4 national
Yes, sir.
championships,
Yeah.
4 different weight classes.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Over cheering to the Cornell
Everybody
fans.
on the media table is standing up on their feet and applauding this kid. He's getting a standing ovation
Yeah.
from 17,000 fans.
Yeah.
And from every member, most of the members of the media.
He's going to get interviewed from ESPN right in the center of the mat.
Mr. ESPN interview.
Absolutely, and I'll tell
They
you
went
what.
by my buddy Scott Casper. Hold it, don't bump Scotty. Please. He'll become too haughty.
All right, so
It's great, guys.
interviewing Dake is just, I tell you what a wonderful match. Just
Pretty
a lot
special.
of excitement and
Wow.
tough to the very end. And
What a privilege to be able to call that with you, gentlemen.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Another fun night for me. Thanks for having me.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
Billy, we're glad to have you. You bring so much to the broadcast every year, and it's just a
I
pleasure.
appreciate that.
Just
great stuff, guys.
I'll come back next year if we could find some other place to put Casper. We got to stick him somewhere in a broom closet so there's a seat here for me.
Scotty.
We'll find a way. We've kind of told Scott, well, we love you, but we're going to stick to the interviews with you, Scott. We'll do the play-by-play.
Yeah, we're the play-by-play guys. Scott's one of the great interviews because he can stir the pot.
Yeah.
And start a riot, too. Mr. Casper's a riot starter.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's the crowd all stayed to the bitter end, and now they're starting to dribble out a little bit.
Kyle Dake's name's up on the ticker tape, and it should be 4 national championships, 4 different weights.
Absolutely remarkable. It's breathtaking.
Yeah,
to me.
he's in there with
spectacular.
Kale won 4, but it was 2 different weights, and Pat Smith won 4, I believe, all at the same weight. 158, I believe, was the weight class when Pat Smith defeated Tom Ryan from Iowa in that day. That was the time. So congratulations to Kyle Drake.
Yeah.
One of the all-times great. Billy Baldwin brought it up earlier. I believe it was Billy. There's an aura around him.
Yeah.
It's something spiritual.
It's just that
when you get
confidence.
close to him, it's just, it's not cocky. It's just confident.
Well, but it's a lot of wrestlers that go out, and I've seen too many wrestlers that go out on the mat, and they have the ability to be an All-American or the ability to be a national champion, and something goes wrong in between their ears, and they wilt.
Yeah.
And I've never seen that in this kid. I know he's lost in his college career. He lost to Donnie Vincent from Binghamton in the dual meet 2 years ago. That was the last time I think he lost.
Right, yeah.
And to see him walk out on the mat and just nice to know that that's never, if you're a wrestler and you're a champion, that's never a factor. It's never a variable. Conditioning and the stuff going on between him.
He's
in great shape. And the stuff psychologically with his confidence, it's never an issue.
Yeah.
Can we be into Showdown freestyle?
He's over.
Same weight class.
Hugs,
freestyle.
Hugs to all his fans and his family over there in the Cornell section. Leading the Cornell section in a cheer.
He's in a mosh pit up there right now. It's great.
Just enjoying himself, and he has every right to enjoy himself that way. And now he's going to come back down the walkway here, and we'll see what happens next.
He's a man of the hour, guys.
Well, you got to love when you have a wrestler. I mean, if this doesn't make ESPN top 10 tomorrow, come on, fellas at ESPN, if you're listening.
Yeah, exactly.
This has got to be top 10. It was great when Ness won that. Who was it that took down the kid from Iowa? Was it Ness?
Yeah.
And he
with like 3 seconds left.
And he threw him on his back. Right. And he dove into the crowd, and they carried him up to his parents, and and that made the top 10. How like somebody's alley-oop dunk was number 1, and that moment was number 2. How it wasn't number 1, I don't know. But I was still appreciative that NCAA wrestling made the top 10.
Yeah,
we're going to make it again tomorrow. We better.
Here's the Ness that did it. Dylan's brother right here. The man with the glasses on, Jason Ness.
That was
an amazing end to that match.
I turned to my friends that were in the Cornell crowd. I said, "Have you ever seen a guy who got a 5-point move with less than 10 seconds left in the finals to win the title? I've never seen that before.
Great time.
5-point move against a kid from Iowa.
It's real special, you guys. We've had a great time here today. Steve Foster, Billy Baldwin, and Jeff Murphy doing a good job here for us as well. What a crew. Caleb Nimmers, thanks for helping us out, bud.
So let me do one thing.
Don't drive straight home, okay? Straight through. That's a long ways to Boston, Massachusetts.
We would be remiss. I want to make sure we've got 2 weight classes here that we haven't listed the All-Americans. I want to make sure we list them all.
Sure.
So at 157 pounds, in 8th place we had James Fleming from Clarion. In 7th place we had James Green from Nebraska. In 6th place we had Jed Moore from Virginia. In 5th place we had Roger Pena from Oregon State. In 4th place we had David Bonet from the University of Northern Iowa. In 3rd place, Alex Deringer from Oklahoma State University. In 2nd place, Jason Welch from Northwestern. And in 1st place, Derek St. John from the University of Iowa. And I'm going to go ahead and give me 1 second to make sure I got all my notes right, and I'll give you the 165-pound champions here, or All-Americans. Pardon me for just a sec. I was too busy watching the match to get ahead of myself.
Wow, 165. I think I know who the champion was.
Yeah, I think that's probably
his name's on the ticker tape. The man of the hour, Kyle Dake. So,
I wonder what the future holds for Kyle Dake. I'm very excited to see what happens with him in the world of wrestling over the next 5 to 10 years.
Same weight class in freestyle, aren't they, Caleb? Same weight class in freestyle. So, and Polson's in there, too. Never underestimate the power of Trent Polson. Polsons are tough, huh? Would that be fun? Did Trent pin Dake in freestyle?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he pinned Kyle Dake in freestyle. Trent Polson did.
Oh, yeah.
He's a beast from
All right.
Iowa State.
So here's your 165-pound All-Americans. In 8th place, you've got Nick Solser from the University of Virginia. In 7th place, Cody Yon from the University of Minnesota. In 6th place, Mike Moreno from Iowa State University.
The host team.
In 5th place, Conrad Poltz from the University of Illinois. In 4th place, Peter Yates from Virginia Tech. In 3rd place, Tyler Caldwell from Oklahoma State University. In 2nd place, David Taylor from Penn State University. And 4-time national champion at 4 different weights, your 165-pound national champion this year, Kyle Dake from Cornell.
Mr. History.
That's right, Billy. And he voluntarily came up to 165. He could have stayed at 157, Rob Kolb told us in an interview on Takedown Radio, but he voluntarily came up to 165 just because he knew it would be that special.
Well, I just hope that David Taylor doesn't get it in his head that I can't beat this kid. I just hope that they're going to go at it again.
Oh,
and it's going to be very interesting to see them on the mat in freestyle.
There'll be some more.
I guess Dake is what now? 4-0, 5-0 against him now.
I'd say
between
5.
freestyle and
5.
And collegiate. So
I think 5-0.
4 in folk and pinned him in freestyle. So, and that weight though at freestyle is log jammed up. I mean, if you look at the freestyle,
there's just not enough freestyle weights.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? Yeah,
there's
a lack of weight.
There's just not enough.
That's so true, man. That is so true. So, well, hey, I want to just thank everybody. Great tournament, a lot of fun, Jeff Murphy. It was a good moment. It ended with what? A zenith.
A zenith. That's right,
quite a
Steve.
zenith
That
right
was
there, buddy.
The word of the year for Steve Foster.
Yeah.
So I do want to say one more thing. Let's. I guess I got to get out of 2007, get my 2010 here, or 13. So your national champions this year, Penn State University. 2nd place is Oklahoma State University, and 3rd place is the University of Minnesota. And your Iowa Hawkeyes come in 4th. I guess we give 4 place winners, don't we?
Yeah.
You're right. Now, not very far ahead of Cornell, but just a little bit ahead. So Penn State with a pretty big lead, followed by Oklahoma State. Minnesota kind of halfway in between, and Iowa bringing up 4th. So that's probably going to about wrap it up.
Just about wrap it up, unless you want a word with the Beast.
Well, it's up to you. It's up to you, but I just think that it's been fun. So I'm going to sign off.
Sounds good.
All right.
Yep. Been a good time, Jeff Murphy. Thanks, Billy Baldwin.
Thank you for having me, gentlemen. It was great.
It's been a lot of fun. I'm going to ask Kurt Backus. Backus, do you want to get up here and give us any words or not? He's busy talking to Caleb Nimmer. So how about it, Backus? You've been an NCAA finalist. You want to hop up here? Want to say something? Huh?
Billy, thank you so much.
Hop up. Thanks, Billy Baldwin. Appreciate it, buddy.
All right, I'm going to turn the headphones over to someone else. Thank you, everyone listening out there still. We do appreciate it, and we hope you join us next Saturday on Takedown Radio here out of KXNO, out of Des Moines. KXNO on the iHeartRadio around the world and the takedownradio.com. We're going to talk to all 10 champions, and we look forward to talking to you on Saturday. Take care, everyone.
you're right. I wonder if...
I got asked that earlier. And I didn't know, so I had to go look it up. I had to look up. So Iowa was mathematically eliminated from the championship last night. When was the last time that happened?
Are we going to make sure
Tommy
we put
Brandt's
this in that box too?
Okay, because then they're going to come. Are you going to bring it up?
Yeah. Or I'm going to sell it on the internet. Can I just close this?
Yeah. Oh, hold on.
Stop streaming?
You guys didn't hit stop.
I get it.
Ladies and gentlemen, placing
You
third
guys
with
have
the team score
one thing to do.
103 points. The
Are you sure you want to stop?